We good to go? Welcome to another episode. Let me start that again. Welcome to another episode of Bussin with the Boys. I am your host, Will Compton. Taylor, as you can see, isn't with us. If we can remove our hats and have a moment of silence for the boy, R.I.P. Taylor Lewan, I think he'd like that. Your head's down. Leave a comment. R.I.P. Taylor Lewan. Thank you, guys. Before we get into it, we've got to shout out the best presenting sponsor that Bussin with the Boys has ever had. Our only presenting sponsor we've ever had, because we just work well together, like ranch dressing and pizza. And that is the Chevy Silverado. Shout out to Chevy Silverado. No free shout outs. We're starting to see pretenders and contenders emerging after the first month of the NFL season. There is only one player that is never a pretender and always a contender. You guessed it. That is the Chevy Silverado. The Silverado shows up week in and week out with unstoppable grit and determination. The Chevy Silverado is the ultimate tailgate flex, with the available multi-flex tailgate and power outlet built right into the bed, boys. And the first ever ZR2 is the ultimate off-road machine. From tailgates and stadium lots to off-road adventures, the Chevy Silverado has you covered in absolutely everything. The widest range available comes to you in the form of a truck, and that truck is the Chevy Silverado. Head over to Chevy.com to learn more about the Chevy Silverado. We had a tremendous episode today. Taylor zoomed in from the heavens. He's out in LA. He's recovering from his ACL surgery. He chimes in. Can we go to the little intro of the laundry list so I can get everybody going? He chimes in from about his surgery, about how everything went down with his knee, updates us with that. We actually get into a nice little talk about our headspace and the mental space, his perspective from the first time he had surgery, the second time. We talk about stuff with football, being on different teams. It was a nice little moment we were sharing, versus just joking around and being our fucking idiot selves. But I do not want to move any more forward, whatever you want to call it, without shouting out the boys in their 3-game fucking win streak. Let's fucking go. The Titans have won 3 straight since starting off 0-2. A lot of people panicked, not us, at Bussin with the Boys. And I think there's a lot of victory lattes. There's an abundance of victory lattes right now. Everywhere. The boys in two-tone blue. Hopefully, the Raiders tonight. But Bet the Bus is fucking rolling. What did we go yesterday? 5-1-2?
Yeah. So basically 5-1.
Yeah, basically 5-1. And then on Saturday with college football, we fucking crushed it. What we going with college football? Do we know? What was it, 4-2 or something like that? I feel like I didn't really lose many.
Right.
Because here's where we sucked. I said the over of Iowa, Illinois, for whatever fucking reason. I remember sitting there Saturday and being like, I think I like Illinois as a team. I've said that on Bet the Bus a few times. And if you guys are not familiar with what I'm talking about, every Thursday at 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 Eastern, we drop our show called Bet the Bus, where I talk sports gambling for your entire board all weekend. I got you covered. I've been on a fucking rampage, guys. I'm ransacking the board. Ramsack? What is it? Ransack? There we go. Ransack. We're fucking ramsacking the fucking board. And I want to say college football, I had Illinois money line, Purdue money line. I had Nebraska money line. I'm just kidding. I had Nebraska -3. But either way, we had a gritty win. That was a fucking W. But that game was on Friday. We know those games don't count. Who else? TCU covering against Kansas. Jayhawk going to Jayhawk. JP, I appreciate the respect text you gave me saying good game. But there's another Kansas State. Kansas State was another one that we had. There might have been one more, but I can't think of it right now. But anyway, I'll just say, we're rolling on Bet the Bus, boys. And if you're watching right now and tuning in, check out Bet the Bus. It drops on Thursdays again at 11 a.m. Eastern time. But again, an abundance of victory lattes coming out of Bet the Bus. If you're a fan of Bet the Bus and you're rolling with the boys. If you're a fan of the Titans, we're rolling. If you're a fan of
every single college that we all went to or support won this weekend.
Yeah, Tennessee
single one.
was another bet. Yeah, Tennessee was another bet. If you're a Vols fan, we're rolling. Nebraska fan, rolling. Michigan fan, rolling. South Carolina, rolling. Let's
baby.
fucking go. Who were you with, Mitch? Ohio State? I forget. You just fucking pick one of the better teams in the game, Ohio State. And then Bama, fucking hats off to Bama as always. But we're rolling. Abundance of victory lattes. What we cover in this episode, because again, we had Taylor zoom in from the heavens with Harambe, and all the boys from Happy Gilmore and the Queen. It was a fun, packed episode. We talk about the new Barstool deal that we signed. We get into that a little bit. We can elaborate on that more. Matter of fact, I feel like we should try and get Dave Portnoy on the bus, whether it's this month, next month. I think the boy Dave should get on the bus soon to talk about all that stuff, re-signing. That is a massive that's a massive deal. I know we're kind of being a little humble. We're kind of like downplaying it a little bit. I feel like even myself talking through it, I feel like I need to be way more excited. Yo, we just signed a new fucking deal, an extension with Barstool Sports. Again, Taylor talks about the surgery. We talk about Michigan and Nebraska as always in the Bussin Bowl, and he tries to he tries his own little weird game of making you think you got to root for Michigan in the Bussin Bowl, which is just not the case. Like, pick whoever you want to win, root for whoever you want to win. It doesn't matter. That trophy's going somewhere. NFL headlines. We get into the Lions. We get into Matt Rule getting fired. We get into Tom Brady getting pampered with his calls and pretty much ruining the Falcons game. The Dirty Boys would have had that game figured out had that ref not stole it from him on third or fourth down, whatever that call was. Shout out, no free shout outs, our favorite segment of the day. And then also our Spooktober themed tier talk, which our tier talk today was Spooktober festivities. What you love between October 1st and October 31st. Get detailed, get better. It's a good conversation. I won't waste your time any longer. If you guys are watching right now, you guys know what helps. You guys know what to do. Drop the comments, hit the like button, hit that thumbs up. Again, we ran the numbers up last week with Taylor and I, with Taylor kind of talking about everything that went down. But you guys know what to do. Drop comments, subscribe, make sure this episode's downloaded. Engage on our social medias. Our social is at Bussin WTB. And by the way, shout out our Twitter. Like, we had a little shout out during the thing. That shit's going well, bro. Follow us everywhere. Again, you guys get all this call to action stuff. We got your boy's wearing an old fashioned and OG, not an OG, just last year Spooktober shirt. Me wearing the Michael Myers mask. I have it outside. I actually had an idea to wear it on, but looks like I forgot that. Embrace the spook, dude. I hope you guys are enjoying Spooktober. Continue to share what you guys are watching every night. Continue to embrace the spook with us. Continue to get your kids involved. Continue to get your friends and your circles, all of your groups involved in embracing the spook, because it is our favorite month of the year. I will not keep you guys any longer. I'm sure we'll get into another ad read here in a moment before we kick off the episode with basically just the boys. It was a good fucking episode. You guys are going to like it again. Drop comments. We love you. Here's an ad read. That ad read is Game Time app. This is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports, created by fans for fans. Game Time is a ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest possible price. If you haven't given Game Time a shot yet, don't know what you're waiting for. You guys are going to absolutely love this. They've got great deals on all MLB playoff tickets and even NFL tickets and even NCAA. JP and I were out there at Rutgers the other day. Yep. They said it was a sold-out crowd. We called their bluff immediately. We said we're going to go on the Game Time app and cop a couple tickets just to get on the field a little bit. And we ended up using the Game Time app. It was tremendous. We've had tons of Barstool fans using it, hitting us up on social about the great deals they're getting. It's so easy to use. There's amazing deals all the time. It's the fastest growing ticketing app in the U.S. Again, you guys are going to love this shit. Download the Game Time app. Go to the account tab to create a login and redeem code BUSSIN. That's BUSSIN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply, of course. Download Game Time, last minute tickets, lowest prices. Absolutely 100% guaranteed. Now, enjoy this episode with the boys with an action-packed talking about everything. Hey, Gugs. Tiny. What's up, bro? FaceTiming from the clouds.
Dude, here I am, dude, up in heaven. It's a little different than I thought it would be.
Yeah, where are you at right now?
The hotel's called Purgatory. That's a joke for those of you that are tuning in to Bussin with the Boys right now. I'm at this place called the Oceana in Santa Monica. It's kind of nice, dude. Vibes got beach views. Haven't really looked at them once.
How,
Been really enjoying Spooktober and 100% just hitting some Red Dead Redemption.
do you are the Spooktober vibes like good out there? Like, is the weather like, do you feel like you're in spring, summer? I feel like you're not really experiencing the fall Spooktober atmosphere.
Dude, you know what? California has everything. It does. It even has extremely high taxes. But when you go down the street around here, like there's a street and there's beautiful trees and the leaves are falling and people haven't like bought into Spooktober like maybe you could in the Midwest or like the East, where it's like every horror movie ever filmed is in that area.
Mhm.
But I mean, at the place we're staying, they got a spread of pumpkins like I've never seen before. It's beautiful.
A
So I
spread of
I'm
pumpkins.
enjoying my Spooktober.
A
Say what?
spread of pumpkins.
There's a bunch like it's like a charcuterie board of pumpkins. So there's like different sizes, different kinds, different colors, and it's just beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Do you feel like I feel like you were alluding to it earlier, but do you think like Californians just don't really buy in like the Spooktober theme like everywhere else around the country,
it'd be-
specifically the Midwest, because it's just one of the things that we have, I guess.
I don't know, Will. That's a really hard question because it's hard to generalize everybody. I'm sure there's some guys out here that just buy into Spooktober more than anybody. But I think people are more concerned about other things around here, and they need to really dial in where their heads are at as far as like what's most important now. Like there's a lot of people out here that would have a fall wedding.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But I will say our traction for Spooktober this year's went up. People are buying a lot more merch. People are talking about what they're watching. We're gonna have a fun little tier
That's
talk.
beautiful.
We're gonna have that fun little tier talk.
Mm.
But hey,
A little taste.
tell us about your surgery. Like you did the pod. We did the pod on Monday. You rolled out to LA on Tuesday. You went under the knife on Thursday. You've been rehab. We had to wait on the podcast because you're rehabbing for like 2.5 hours. I'm not even sure what all you can do on a few days out post-op ACL surgery besides just try and flex your quad, but it's probably not even flexing right now. So you're probably just doing like 2 hours worth of like, I don't know, some technology type electro wave shit. Tell us all what's going on out there in LA. How you been?
Yeah, dude. So I cruised out here on Tuesday, and met with Elatrosh. For those of you who do not know who Neil Elatrosh is, he's like the most badass surgeon I've ever met in my entire life. The vibe he has, like he's got enough done, if you know what I'm talking about, from an LA where it's like it's classy, it's not too over the top.
Yeah.
He's probably in his 60s, but he looks more like a handsome 50-year-old guy. Like he goes to a wedding and there's a lot of younger women that are like, oh man, I would probably let this guy take me type vibes.
Yeah.
Calm and stoic and confident. Overall, I think Elatrosh, just his vibe in general, 4.5. He's an absolute stud in my opinion. So I meet with him. I'm sitting in the waiting room. They're like, hey, we're going to meet with you at 11. And this is when I called you and you were telling me about your workout with Atlanta, which we'll obviously get into. I'm chilling. I'm hanging out. I'm in the waiting room. Life's good. And then I'm waiting for like 45 minutes, it's whatever. It is what it is. I know the man's busy, but they called somebody else in. I forget the last name and me at the same time. Now as I'm walking in with this other gentleman. He looks about to be 23, 24 years old, tattoos everywhere, but he just smells like the strongest scent of marijuana. Like he literally smoked marijuana and then said, that's not good enough. And took perfume, a marijuana scent, and put it all over him. That's how strong this individual smelled like. And I gave him, said, what's up, dapped him up, gave him a little love as I was walking to my room. And I get in there and there's this other dude who's Green Bay Packers fan. That's all I really know about him. He absolutely loves Aaron Rodgers. He talked my ear off about Aaron Rodgers. We sit down and he goes, hey, you know who that is? And hey, babe, who was that? What was his name? What's the guy's name?
Travis Scott. Is this the Travis Scott story?
Yeah. I forgot who it was. But anyway, he is like, you know what that is? And I was like, no. And he's like, that's Travis Scott. And I was like, cool. So already I'm being enriched with the A-list celebrities of surgeries around here. Elatrosh comes in. He's wearing scrubs. He's wearing dress shoes. An interesting combination. We have a great conversation. Get him to laugh a little bit, which is tougher than you might think. And then I go on Thursday, Finished that whole thing up. It was great. He was outstanding. He went through the whole thing with me about what all the stuff he's got to fix, all the scar tissue and stuff in there. He's basically like a glorified janitor at this point, just cleaning up my knee like crazy. So Thursday comes around. They say, hey, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock surgery for the boy, nothing after midnight. Your boy eats at 6. I think that's good enough. I start getting texts over and over. Hey, now it's 8:30. Now it's 9. Now it's 9:30. Now it's at 11 o'clock. And so I go in to get my surgery at 11 o'clock, meet the anesthesiologist. Everyone was super nice. And I told this lady, I said, hey, my energy about beating your anesthesiast or whatever it's called is going to be at a 10. I am going to defeat your medicine.
We're going to beat the gas.
She says she's undefeated. Her scare tactics don't fear me. We go into the meeting room. She goes, hey, I'm about to start administering it. This is when you fight. She literally said, this is when you fight. So I go, okay. She goes, it might burn a little bit. And I was like, and it burnt like shit too. My arm was like burning like crazy. I was like, yeah, it does hurt. But that's when she got me. I thought I was going to have a chance to fight it. She distracted me with the arm burning pain. And before I knew it, I was awake. Boom. And then the surgery was done. Doc comes in.
Hang on. Going into the surgery, like, where was your mental actually at? Like, you've obviously been in like you've been solid mentally, which has been very awesome to like feel and hear from you. But like when leading up to the surgery, the day the morning happens, like, are you starting to get a little bit of anxiety? You're like, fuck, here we go. Like now there's just no going back. I'm about to get this knee worked on. The process is about to start again.
I think like the most anxiety I had was the day after we finished the podcast last week. Because that was the day before I left for California. And like before that point, there was things for me to look forward to. Like, oh, okay, I get to go see the boys at the facility this day. I get to go and see Willie and the boys and do a podcast Monday. And then once that podcast ended, I was like, damn, like the only thing I really have to do now is get surgery. And there's like nothing really distracts me from like the worry of like having to go through the whole entire process again. But like that was like quickly came and went. Like it really wasn't like a huge overwhelming feeling of anxiety for me. It was really just like, all right, I just got to do it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And but like a different thought process I had this time was like, instead of this whole like feel sorry for myself thing where it's like first time having an injury, first time getting surgery, blah blah blah. It's like there's really no going around this. So like my whole goal was have like positivity on like 10, like energy high. So like I came in to get surgery. I was loving on the nurses. I was dapping people up, giving them high vibes. Because like they literally were like, hey, we usually don't have people come in here like this. And I was like, it's because listen, your boy's a seasoned vet at this point. I know exactly what's about to go down. It is what it is. Like, what am I going to do? Like having a bad attitude about this thing. It's all good. So really that, and then there was like a small moment right before they gave me the medicine. Like when you go to get surgery, they like shave your leg, clean your leg, take your vitals, and then they give you an IV. And they start with just fluid. They put the IV in. And I'm kind of like hanging out. And like part of me like came over my head was like, dude, fuck it. Just don't even get the surgery at all. Just bail right now. You can just get the hell out of here and it'll be done. And like there was a moment of like panic. And I obviously I still went through it, but there was like a moment of like, damn, I could just leave right now and live the rest of my life like this. Who cares?
Yeah.
And so, but like obviously leveler heads prevailed. And then once they hit me with the medicine, I was like crushing life. It was a nice little deal. Then I got done. After I got done with the surgery, Elatrosh came in. And then the weirdest thing about anesthesia to me is when you get anesthesia and you wake up, like when I was awake after, like in my mind, I'm like conscious. Like I knew everything going on. I just felt like in a good mood. And then like now I'm like telling Taylor things. She's like, Taylor, you repeated that to me 3 separate times. You said that to me this many times. Like I literally texted Charo. I was like, I texted Charo like this really nice text about Rue, and I was like, man, that's super nice. And then I totally forgot I even sent the text. But like it's not like when you're drunk where everything's kind of a haze. I felt so clear, and then all of a sudden, like my the rest of my Thursday and part of my Friday is like gone from my mind forever.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
Yeah, Taylor sent this like super thoughtful text about like, thanks for letting us and like, thanks for letting me in Rue's life, and I need some Rue cuddles when I get back, and just saying all this stuff. And Charles and I are just laughing because it was like the day of the surgery, so we know he's all drugged up, but the shit was just hilarious.
Yeah, dude, it was pretty funny. But like other than that, dude, like I've honestly like vibes have been high. My quad's actually flexing pretty. Like he cleaned up a whole bunch of stuff in there. Like I would say like it's two totally different situations, but like day 4 of last time and day 4 of this time, I feel better. Like morale's higher. There's no like feeling sorry for myself mentality. I'm moving around pretty decent. So like I feel like low key happy. I'm more stoked to like kind of like crank out these next 2 weeks, get back to Nashville, see my little girls again, and like be with the boys and like kind of like get back to a normal life.
Yeah. How long
Other than that though,
how long did they make you stay out there?
they said they want me to stay out here for 2 weeks. So obviously 2 weeks from surgery. So Thursday, I'll have to be out here obviously for it was in 3 days. So
Yeah. So you'll get
11 more
back. You'll
days.
get back like next Friday, next Thursday.
But yeah, either the 20th or the 21st, I'll be back in Nashville. So I'm just hanging out, dude. Playing a bunch of Red Dead, diving into the spook like crazy, and catching some vibes on that. So there's positives to everything, boys and girls. I have literally my Spooktober. This might be top 10 right now as far as ability to consume.
What's your what have you been doing? What's been the spook? What's been the best part of it so far? Like what's been your favorite spook to watch? Do you got any recommendations?
I've taken like a real dad role this year in my Spooktober. As my oldest Rin gets older, I'm really starting to figure out, okay, what can I watch with her and what can I not watch with her? And instead of going through the trial and error of watching spooks with her and seeing her response to it, I'm watching other spooks. I'm watching like children's spooks more and like diving into that. So the most recent one was the Addams Family. Saw that, the cartoon version. To be honest with you, it's phenomenal. I love it. I probably watch it again by myself. But I know now I have something in the arsenal when I go home and Wynn wants to watch a spook because she's all about Spooktober. I'll be able to have that conversation like, hey, Addams Family, we might have to get into this. Da-da-da-da-da. We're living the dream.
So you got the whole family out there? Is Wynn and Willow out there?
No, if you were listening closely, I said I want to get back to Nashville, be with my 2 little girls.
Yeah. Sorry, you know how it gets. You know how my mouth gets open. I'm trying to like keep up the whole time.
Yeah.
Once I heard you say you watching Addams Family,
it didn't download enough.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, but it's been cool, dude. It's been awesome. But I'll tell you what, dude, I've had a busy week as far as like getting rehab and stuff like that. But the boy, you've had an incredible week. Some say Will Compton's writing his own vision of the NFL. You're rewriting what the NFL stands for. And so I think it's only fair that you kind of led us into your world of what happened with the Atlanta Falcons this past week.
Dude, it's been interesting, bro. Like we've obviously talked and everything else, and I've briefed you on everything that happened. But JP and I, we drive down to Atlanta. We have to take the reimbursement money cash from the Falcons instead of getting a first class seat. Just because, you make a little extra money on the top. JP and I, we're going down there. We're cutting a vlog up. We're gonna vlog the entire experience. So we go down, and dude, we have this workout. You walk in, and I'm around some of the guys. There were like 3 other outside linebackers there that were doing a workout, and we start getting set up to warm up, to go out, to do the warm up. I'm in the locker room. I'm rolling out a little bit. I'm low key. I'm trying to I feel my breathing get shorter. Like I can tell I'm starting to get nervous now because I'm like, all right, like here we go. Like I'm about to be out there. I'm going to be by myself because I tried asking those dudes. I'm like, hey, what positions are you guys? And they're like, oh, linebacker. I'm like, inside or outside? Because I'm trying to talk like, it'll be helpful if all of us are in the same drills together, because then the work capacity, you'll be able to catch your breath better. Your conditioning won't look as bad. And they're like, oh, the guy comes in and he's like, oh, you 3 are going to go first. Will you come out 20 minutes later? And I'm like, oh, fuck, I'm by myself. And I walk out into the bubble, and first person I see is Coach Matt Peace, who's the assistant linebackers coach. And it was just awesome to see him. We embraced each other with a huge hug. I'm trying to tell him like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like, water break after every rep. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, but water break after every rep. I would love to get a little bit of a breather every time. We're not trying to, I'm not above stopping this thing smack dab in the middle and just being like, boys, I think we've all seen enough. I know I feel good. I don't know about you guys. And he's just like laughing. He's like, I won't be as bad as you think. And then Arthur Smith comes over. We hug and dap up and stuff, and we're catching up a little bit. and they're warming me up down on one end while the other linebackers are working out. And mind you, in the workout, bro, like there's like 20 to 30 personnel people, like staff, front office people that are just standing around watching you work out. And it's quiet. Like, you know how it is in the indoor. Just imagine no music playing, no, nothing's happening. Like you can hear everybody's breath. You can hear absolutely everything happening. And
It's like a pro day, right?
yeah, it's like a pro day, but you don't have any of your teammates. Like they're literally all just standing right around you. I'm sure that I'm assuming that that's what was happening for you, if that's what you're alluding to. Because on my pro day, like there were several of us trying to like work out and be in line, and you hear coaches, "Oh, let's go," blah blah blah. Like it's just silence. And now I meet the linebacker coach, shake his hand. He's like, "Look, this is when I knew this is when I knew I'd be straight." Because at the end of the day, like they texted me, the Falcons texted me 2 weeks ago to work out. They wanted me to work out that next Tuesday. We go back and say, let's push it 2 weeks because I needed time to get in some kind of football shape. And then we almost had to push it again because I did hurt my back like a week ago. Arthur, he ends up texting me, do we need to push this back again? I'm like, no, I'll be straight. And we get out there and the linebacker coach goes, look, it's not going to be as bad as you think. This is when I knew I was going to be all right. He goes, after each drill, look, we're not trying to kill you. This is, I don't want to botch her name. We'll just say Emily. I think they're like, hey, this is Emily. She's standing there with water. She'll be able to get you, as much water as you need, and take a moment, like walk, you can walk back in between each rep. And take your time through this. Again, we're not trying to kill you. And I looked at him like, brother, say less. That is literally all I needed to hear. And then I told Emily, I'm like, hey, stay close to me. I'm going to need that truly probably after every rep. Just a quick little sip, nothing to where I look like I'm exhausted, but just get a little bit of water in the mouth because I'm a little nervous right now.
My boy's playing chess.
Yeah. You get a little cotton mouth because your emotions are high. You got the nerves going, you got everything else. I just need a little bit of water in the mouth. And then it's one of those situations where when they're explaining each drill, I'm repeating the drill back to them so I can be like, okay, so you want me to do this? You get a few extra seconds in the tank to get a little bit more of a breather. But we go through probably a 15, 20-minute workout, dude. And your boy, I was out there, I was feeling a little juicy, bro. I had just enough time. There's one of those things where I'm walking back and I'm trying not to breathe too heavy because, again, you could hear everything in there to where you're not trying to seem like you're out of breath, which kind of plays against you because you're trying to be quiet about breathing when I just wanted to be like, just release a lot of oxygen and kind of pant a little bit and then be like, all right, I'm good to go. But overall, bro, murdered. The workout could not have went any better. In the middle of the workout, I literally remember like saying to myself, like, this is the most ideal workout situation I've ever been in my life. And then I got done and I'm pretty sure the expectations were low enough, were so low because I'm sure a lot of people were thinking like, we're going to see what kind of shape Will's in because people are mentioning Bussin with the boys, the stuff I've been doing off the field. And I don't really say anything. They just say, hey, what kind of shape are you in? I'm like, shape is subjective. We'll find out here real soon what kind of shape I'm in. And they're probably thinking of all the stuff they've been seeing off the field that the boy hadn't been doing a whole lot. Whether or not that's true, that will forever be up for debate. But after the workout's done, everyone is just around me thinking, you could tell like that I exceeded whatever the expectation was. Everybody's like, man, you look good. One guy was specifically like, man, I thought you hadn't been doing anything all year. It looks like you've been staying in shape all year round. And I just shake his hand. I'm smiling. I'm like, hell yeah, brother. But dude, it was awesome because again, I think people were like some of the front office guys, I'm sure were like, here's, Coach Smith or some of these guys who know Will, they could be bringing Will in because that's just one of their guys. And let's see what kind of shape he's actually in, or let's see how he's actually moving. And, dude, I felt like I was 26 again out there moving around low key. I was like, we might be talking about year 11 now. So, and then afterwards,
oh my God, imagine.
Dude, I know, right? And then afterwards, Art was like, hey, come up to my office. Art and I talked about, possible situations and where they're kind of at roster-wise and everything else. And we'll see what happens, bro. Like there's a couple perfect scenarios there's a perfect scenario in my head to where how this could play out. I hope it pans out that way. But overall, 4.5, the workout was incredible.
Don't say nothing else about your the plan because I want like maybe you record it and then if the plan goes exactly like we said, we're like, hey, we called it.
Yeah. Yeah. JP's probably got enough footage of us talking about so many different fucking ways that this thing could work out to where we're overthinking. Well, we were overthinking so much. And then JP's kind of like, yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to do the workout. Hopefully the workout goes well. And then all this stuff could, all these different situations could work out. I'm like, dude, that is true. I could go in there and just piss the bed and not know anything. I could strain a calf or a hamstring and just be done.
Oof.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. I should just record the perfect situation. So that way we have the receipt. So if it does work out that way, we're back on top.
That'd be outstanding, dude. It's crazy to think like, yeah, if you were to like pull a calf or a hammy right there, like it's over.
Yeah. It's like all the cards are on the table. It's like Art, I'm sure Art would look at me like I let him down. Because there's a part of me too that was like the reason I was nervous too is like you're not wanting to disappoint the guys who are like, hey, but let's bring him in. Like I think we can count on Will. Blah 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 blah. And then I just go out there and strain something and I don't look good at all. I fall over. But fortunately that didn't happen because when we did get done, I was kind of like I was like riding cloud nine all the way the drive back home with JP and just like fired up because I felt like I showed up. I showed up for the boy Art. I showed up for the guys who were like, hey, bring Willie in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's huge, dude. And Art is such a dude. Art is the GOAT. Like as far as like personality, the guy he is. Like I'm sure everybody in Atlanta, if they really knew like the real Art, becoming a head coach can change a lot of people. We saw with Mike Mularkey quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like with Art, like I just feel like how do you not like the guy? How do you not like love him?
Dude, he's
in every way.
Remember, I was telling you that the scout who was taking me around for my physical and kind of taking me through the morning to make sure I was on top of everything. That dude, I was asking him how he met Art, and he met Art at like a high school. Like they had an event at their high school. They both went to that same high school. This is a young cat. Arthur's obviously older, but Art was there to do like a speech to everybody, give like what do they call it? Like he was the keynote speaker at the event. And this dude was wanting to get in the scouting, and he had just he was like a GA or he was something really low at the University of Pitt. And so he just tried talking to Art and like, picking his brain and everything else. And him and Art got to know each other. And from that moment, Art was like, would you be interested in trying to, get a job with the Atlanta Falcons? And he went through like 2 stages of interviews, and he was obviously, he's a scout there now, but it just goes to show like that's such an Arthur Smith moment of like not being too big for anybody at some high school reunion event where he's keynote speaking, somebody wants to talk to him about scouting. And by the end of it, he's like, hey, I could have a job for you. Let's still go through the process, but you seem like a good enough dude, the right character guy, which Art always seeks out. But that's such an Arthur Smith story. We interrupt this episode, and can we get a moment of silence for Duke Cannon? I'm sorry. Thank you. Shout out Duke Cannon, no free shout outs, the hardest working products for those hardest working dudes out there. They actually secured NIL deals with a few college athletes coming off of our spring tour from this year. They've inked deals with AJ Henning, Zach Zinner, Trevor Keegan from Michigan, just to name a few of the Hogs from Blue. Share your
Got it?
Yeah. This is a walk in the park. It says share your experience. Obviously, my experience with Duke Cannon. I was in the gym this morning. I packed my bag because I wanted to hit the sauna post-workout, because I wanted to get the heart rate up. I wanted to get in the sauna right afterwards. I knew I was going to shower because I hate just doing the sauna and then being sweaty and then driving home. So I packed a bag. What I packed for the shower, all Duke Cannon essentials. Their thickening hair shampoo, which I absolutely love. They have a charcoal. It smells fucking incredible, boys. I don't know if I'm allowed to cuss, but it is what it is. Their soap that they have in their little like loofah case. I hate calling it a loofah case. That sounds soft, because this brand's not for clowns, but their big ass brick of soap that sits in their little loofah case. And then what else do I pack? Oh, their deodorant, their dry ice, the black cased, where it's got the black top and the black little deal at the bottom where you get the deodorant out. Those 3 things are my essentials when I pack my Duke Cannon bag. Check out Duke Cannon at any Target or on DukeCannon.com and use code Spooktober. Use code Spooktober for 15% off your first order. Duke Cannon, not for clowns, always for the boys. Back to the episode.
I'll tell you what, he's got to be hurt right now after what happened yesterday.
Dude, the way the Falcons got screwed, and now mind you, who knows if they would have won the game, they were coming back. They were down 21-0 going into the 4th quarter. Rallying back, got the 2-point conversion. It's 21-15. They got a 3rd down. And then I don't know who the D lineman's name was, but that call on Tom Brady, did you see it?
Grady Jarrett. Yeah, at 97, he's a stud, dude.
Future
he's a
teammate.
Stud defensive lineman. Future, possibly.
Possible future teammate.
But I like the thing that's so crazy to me is like the whole time Brady was in at the Patriots, and probably when he was at Tampa too, everyone was like, "Oh, the refs, they love Brady. Oh, this is Bill Belichick. This is the Patriots. Like they always give the Patriots this and that, and Brady this, like these calls." And I never like bought into it. I was like, "That's ridiculous. Like these refs don't like keep bias on them at all. There's no way." But like watching that yesterday, I may go as far to say as I'm officially on the train that Brady gets special treatment.
Yeah, bro. I mean, that was just a routine. Momentum's going to the side. Like, number one, as a pass rusher, you're already trying to be conscious of, okay, I'm trying to hit the quarterback, but at the same time, I'm also trying to like hit his arm. I'm trying to touch the ball so I can get a forced fumble sack. And now if I'm going to tackle the quarterback, I'm doing my best not to be frontal on him because I can't land on him because that'll be a penalty. If I do tackle him, I got to be ready to like roll my body so I fall off the side of the quarterback. And then like right there, he gets Brady like around the waist and he's just carrying his body around and Tom's head doesn't even really hit the ground. You can see Tom try and like throw it in there a little bit, but it's just like a routine.
It's a vet move.
Yeah, vet move, but a routine like gator roll tackle at the waist of a quarterback. And then they throw the laundry out on the field and it's a penalty. It like ruined the game. It ruined the game, bro, because the Falcons they had momentum.
Yeah, I haven't seen something this bad since like the 2020 AFC Championship where D Ford was offsides.
Oh,
It was that bad.
Yeah, that was a big.
That was a game-changing moment.
Yeah, he's talking about when D Ford was lined up offsides. That was in your guys' game, right?
No, it wasn't our game. It was the AFC. What game was that?
What am I thinking?
I think Brady was with the Bucs still. It might have been
Patriots?
2018.
Chiefs Patriots.
It was 2018. Chiefs Patriots, and they stopped the Patriots, but there was a neutral zone infraction because D Ford lined it up in the neutral zone.
Yeah,
and it's like it's a different situation because it's like not the refs messing it up, but like I haven't seen like a mess up like that since D Ford did that. Like not to just all of a sudden throw a bus over D Ford. I'm sure he's a great guy, but like the refs making that kind of mistake was just as massive as D Ford.
Yeah, and just again the way they're kind of protecting. I mean honestly, it's just like Tom Brady. It's like a Tom Brady, LeBron James. Like those are the two guys who get moments like that. Because Tom gets up and immediately goes into tattletale mode about, hey, what was that? And then because I felt like the flag came slightly later, like the flag was coming after Tom's reaction, not necessarily the ref wasn't trying to grab it during the play. You know what I mean?
I don't know if I fully agree with that. I think when I watched the video, it's like the ref knew, hey, Brady's gonna want this flag. Like they're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, like Tom didn't even need to look at him. Like they just already knew.
But the play before the pass interference that was missed, that's what a lot of people are talking about right now. Is the play before Brady got the roughing the passer was a blatant pass interference, and the refs didn't call it, and the game would have been sealed.
Dude, that's just.
But we're not talking about that right now, Jay. I mean, come on.
Hey, dude, no, that's not. Yeah,
that's stupid.
Hey, do you recognize who that ref was?
Black dude, right?
Yeah, dude, you were cursing out in 2018. You tried ruining it.
Yeah, that's the Jets game. Yeah, you know what the thing is too is every time I see him now, it's a handshake, a dap up, and a hug. Hey, have a great game, blah blah. I give the same whole thing, like, hey, don't be throwing any laundry at me today, like the same juice up thing. But dude, like the refs need to figure out they need to have some sort of checklist for refs of how you should become a ref. Like you can't be like they need to have like a certain 40 time, a certain like cognitive response time.
Taylor gets
they
into
need to like
combine.
not be overweight. If I have to see one more overweight referee in any sport, I'm going to lose my damn mind because it's like you guys are a part of the integral part of a fast-paced game. You can't be eating burritos and hot dogs at halftime and expect to go out there and do your job. Like there needs to be something. Now, I'm not saying that gentleman was. I'm thinking about Tampa Bay versus Dallas 49ers Dallas in the playoffs when Dak ran that quarterback draw. If they had time to spike it, if that ref was a little bit faster, they spike it, maybe the game's differently. And the list just goes on and on. But it's like there's a huge issue with these refs. These refs are like lawyers and like have other jobs too. And then on the weekends, they put on their crown that looks like a vertical striped zebra outfit and throw laundry at professional athletes. Like they need to be held more accountable.
Yeah, I feel like there's got to be a better accountability system for the referees. Like, they don't really have to face the media or like talk after the game. I know that they did put out a transcript of like what he was saying in like a reaction to that call, but like games that get this, that are in the refs' hands in the biggest moments of the game, like there's got to be some type of like, yeah, a way to review those, like even during the game, like that's something you got to be able to go back and look at under the hood and be like, hey, we need to correct this call. Like, this is not a fucking roughing the passer call. I know they tried the pass interference. There's a lot more gray area with pass interference. There really is. It's kind of hard to figure out. And they tried that experiment for a couple of years. But some of these other things, man, like there's got to be some type of method that they can come up with to fix these bad calls that are happening in big moments of the game.
At least a level of consistency too, because each and every game we go into, Vrabel's like, hey, this is the referee crew.
Right.
This is what they call. This is what they don't call. And like, you have enough game planning to going into a week as it is. Like, why have to like figure out the refs here? There needs to be a level of consistency. And the thing that the NFL does that's so like, I would disagree with is they do these things where they have like emphasis. Like the emphasis this year is targeting, or the emphasis this year is pass interference. Like after that Saints LA game a couple of years back in the NFC Championship, like then the next year they're like gung ho about reviewing all this different shit. And it's like, let's just find a level of consistency. And hey, Goodell, here's another thought too. The big level of like the big thing that Goodell was like pushing for during camp was that NFL players need to have their pants lower, like covering their entire knee, and they can't have their shirt out, or they can't have like a hood in the back of the jersey anymore. And it's like that shit does not matter at all. Like we're all wearing the same jersey, the same pants. If guys want to spruce up their shit the way they want to, it shouldn't be an issue at all. There should be no, hey, this week we have my cause, my cleats. It should be like you should be able to wear whatever fucking cleats you want. Like as long as you like tell people, hey, I'm wearing these cleats, so it's not like caught off guard, and
Yeah.
But like to have like these apparel issues when there's so many other big problems in the NFL when it comes to this other stuff, it's like it seems like their thoughts just fucking backwards.
Yeah, and anytime they have the emphasis on like certain penalties, it always goes to the wayside with a big name like a Brady and those guys. Have you guys seen that Netflix documentary? It's like the same series as I think it's Untold Stories or The Untold or whatever it is. There's this NBA ref that was going through it, and there was an emphasis that year on it was like basically the spin move to like score, to like take an extra step or get an extra step. They were trying to say the spin move was traveling. And he called it, I believe, on Michael Jordan. And then after the game, he was pulled to the side by big dogs in the referee world and saying like, hey, we are making an emphasis, but it's not called on guys like that. And like from that little episode, because he was in deep with gambling, like how he could swing. It was like, I could swing any game 3 or 6 points. And talking about like the whole gambling thing, it's like, dude, there's nothing above. What's up? Yeah, it was all with the mob too. But after seeing that, it's like, man, you can't put anything like over these refs to where, at the end of the day that he is calling a call like that. I feel like, in my opinion, because that was Tom Brady. And that's just like one of those things where you got to swallow it, no pause, and just understand like, the game's different for a few select players.
Yeah. And it's kind of like there's like two trains of thoughts. Like, well, that guy's earned that. He's Tom Brady. He's beaten Father Time and all this stuff. But like, they should first off going back to the point shaving thing or like being in it with the mob like this. It's probably that's the most scumbag thing you can do in all of sports.
Yeah,
is to like if you're a player and you're missing. Like I think when we would go into college, I don't know if it is in Nebraska, but like Michigan, every year we'd have like a gambling thing. Like there's no gambling allowed, and you can't do this. And you can't do that. And they'd show like examples of people like shaving points or doing things in games to win bets. And it seemed like basketball was always the number one. If you're a fucking player that misses a 3-point shot to make it a debt, dude, you're scum. That's such a fucking scum move. That's just bullshit. And going to like, hey, you don't call it on these players. Like, I get it in a way because like, yeah, Jordan, Brady, LeBron, like these dudes. Like they can do no wrong in certain situations. But a lot of it goes into pay too. Like if you're a younger player on your first contract and you're playing like a Von Miller or someone who's paid a lot, they're going to call more holdings on you in certain situations because, oh, that's Von Miller. And it's like, Von does get held a lot. Don't get me wrong, but there needs to be consistency. There has to be consistency.
Yeah, no, I agree. You saw that Matt Rule got fired?
Yeah, 1-4 start with the Panthers, dude. That's a tough deal.
Yeah, the reason I brought that up is I saw a tweet by RG3, which I actually, this is one of the times where I was looking at that and I'm like, I mean, that's like, that is something that players have like talked about before. It's like you have a coach who gets bought out. He was on his third year of a 7-year deal, and he gets bought out, and he's making over $40 million, north of $40 million for his buyout, Taylor. And they paid Baylor $6 million to take his contract, and then they signed him to a 7-year deal, and in that third deal he gets fired, and now he's still set to make $40 million. It's like that's the case for like players need to have guaranteed contracts that match coaches, or coaches don't need to be having these massive buyouts for when they get fired because it's all performance based. Like, what's up?
He's getting like $865,000 for the next 48 months straight.
God. And it's
That's
like,
a good
if
deal.
you're bad at your job performance wise and you get fired and you're getting a massive buyout like that, like that's like just another angle on if you're fighting the good fight for players trying to get guaranteed contracts. That's a good metric to look at and be like, hey, coaches are getting these fucking buyouts to be shitty, to be garbage, to lead your product that you want to be better. You're going to still pay them $40 million or over $40 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. Coaches are in such a better situation than players.
Well, from that standpoint, yeah, you're 100% right. And I don't think the buyout should change at all. Like, I mean, give the coaches all the money they want. Everyone, like, I'm a big guy of like, hey, if you're doing a job, get paid as much as you can. So if the coaches get fired and he's getting $40 million, good for him. But yeah, I agree. There needs to be a bigger push. That's where the NFLPA needs to come in, dude. All these other sports are getting guaranteed contracts, but football is not, and it's the most injury-ridden sport. It's the most contact, the most violence, and the least long-term. So why these guys should be getting guaranteed contracts all the way through? There should be no talk about this or that. Like, you can have the stipulations like you play a certain amount of snaps per year, or your weight clause that what's his name, Eddie Lacy or whatever the fuck his name was back at the Packers. You can have stuff like that, but if you sign a contract, you should absolutely get all that money. But it's what you and I talk about all the time. It turns into the quarterbacks. Everything starts at the top and has to trickle down. The quarterbacks need to do it. Lamar, like we talked about last week, is a huge case for that. And if he's able to go and do something like that, where he gets a guaranteed contract, then it starts going to the offensive line, the receivers, and the defensive line, and then it just keeps moving forward. And that's the way you do it. But you need a couple of those Kirk Cousins out there to start doing it that way and make it more the norm.
Yeah, no, I agree, because it's strictly going off of the stance of how do we get NFL players, the boys, more money. Who you look at to try and compare and say, hey, these dudes are fucking getting that. That should help us leverage wise to be like in a not like a similar situation to where you're still getting bought out the entirety of your contract. But if you're sitting there and you're getting fired based on like performance that both sides bet on, cause like you said, there should still be probably stipulations within the contract. That'll always happen no matter what. But you're right. Like you need some top dogs, and it's going to come from quarterbacks, but you need top dogs to take less of a ceiling as far as the guarantees go to raise and try to get as much juice as you can from that guarantee. Like you're right. Like that is where it starts. It starts with like the faces of the NFL to do that. But, what else do we have NFL wise, headline wise? We are going to take a moment and shout out the Ridge Wallet. The Ridge Wallet is an ultra slim minimalist wallet. It holds up to 12 cards plus room for your cash. There's over 30 colors and styles, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. It's made with RFID blocking technology that protects you from digital pickpocketers. Yes, that is real. There are digital pickpocketers out there, but not with the Ridge Wallet because they have RFID blocking technology. It's secure. It secures anywhere from 2 to 6 keys It helps organize your keys, boys. It organizes your keys in a compact silhouette and fold out for easy access. There are 6 colors and styles, including carbon fiber, and once again, burnt titanium. Check out their site and use code Bussin for 10% off your order. The holiday season's coming up. You need 10% off because whether you're a father out there or you're a mother out there, you need to buy the Ultra Ridge wallet for your son. It's probably your son because your daughter, she's probably way more responsible than your son. But all them boys out there, we all know we need a secure, reliable wallet, and Ridge Wallet has just that. Back to this episode. Dude, the boys.
Detroit Lions.
The boys, yeah, we'll get to Detroit Lions, but hey, the boys are on a 3-game win streak. The Titans, two-tone blue. Cowboys on a 4-game win streak. 2 teams to where, after week 1, Cowboys won after that week, but the Titans, a prime example of after 2 weeks, everybody fucking called for everyone's head, and Bussin with the boys never hit the panic button.
Never did.
But the boys are on a 3-game win streak. Fuck, you're on the team.
I'm on the squad, dude.
Yeah, like you're on the squad. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, honestly, goes back to what Aaron Rodgers said, right? On the Pat McAfee show. Is Mike Vrabel still the head coach? Then shut the fuck up. Like, every year to a certain team, dude. Fan bases, media, it's what they want to do. You hit 0-2, and then all of a sudden the world's crashing down. Oh, the statistics of making the playoffs and all that, dude. The boys we got in that locker room, the head coach, John putting the boys around them, got a fighting chance every week. I'm not saying we're going to win the rest of the games. That'd be ridiculous to say. But we went into a nice little bye week right now. Relaxed, feeling good. You're on a 3-game win streak. Outstanding. I think we have the Colts coming up the week after that. We won there. We're now at home. It's a good feeling. The Colts are a fantastic team. I know they haven't showed a whole lot of promise throughout the season. It's going to be a dogfight like it always is. But damn, dude, it's like we're also 2-4 in 2019 with the AFC Championship. Like, the NFL is built this way for a reason. The NFL is built to be before there were 17 games, an 8-8 league. So let's just fucking keep on keeping on, boys.
Yeah, and I
feel like everything I just said, Vrabel's going to get mad at.
Why do you think that?
Because I guarantee he went in the locker room and was like, boys, 3-0. When you lose, give them credit. When you win, say less. Like, make sure that no one's out here talking about we're doing this and that. Like, let's just focus on what we got to focus on. Stay healthy. The key Mike Vrabel speech. Yeah. And he's definitely like, no one say shit. And here I am, 3 days post-op of an ACL, being like, the fucking boys, what we tell you. You can't bet against them.
Yeah, so, I feel like I can definitely lean in and be that character a lot more. I already am anyway. But I feel like it's like it's the value you feel like you can just, it's about as much as you feel like you can do being in your situation is try and talk highly of the boys. Yeah.
I got a lot of big things coming down my way. I got Michigan versus Michigan State in a couple of weeks. Michigan versus Penn State this week. Obviously, it's going to be a donkey stomp. So I got a lot of boastering to do in the near future. But for you, dude, it had to be. What was your emotions like watching the commies play the Titans?
I mean, dude, I've told you before too, like the majority of my career, I played 5 years of Washington. Absolutely loved that locker room. And it's something that like you know, when you're in those younger years of playing ball, you wish like those moments in that team and everybody would like be together forever. And you feel like that moment's going to last forever. But outside of like Tress Way and then the strength coach Chad Engelhart, like there's not a lot of people I know at Washington to where whenever I came to Tennessee and then I went to the Raiders, like you almost feel more a part of like that team than Washington. It's like Washington, like, I don't know. I was rooting for the Titans. Like I'm sitting there watching thinking it's super cool that like Washington Titans are playing there at FedEx Field. David Long, number 51, got the pick at the final game to seal the deal. So the legacy of 51 lives in FedEx Field forever. Forever. But it's like one of those things, like I was rooting for the Titans, but it just like, you know, there wasn't like high emotion, like, man, I'm torn. I was torn on Raiders Titans because again, it's more of like rooting for players. Like I know so many of the guys in the Titans locker room, and I know so many of the guys still in the Raiders locker room, and recency bias. Like I've been on those teams, like, you know, doing the whole Vrabel asking me to come in to impersonate him. And I was just on the Raiders and I still talk to all those guys, but like Washington, there's not like a whole lot of of connection there. It was one of those things where when I did leave and come to the Titans, you know, they offered minimum. And then when the Titans came in and offered, like, the Washington just kind of bowed out. I was like, oh no, you know, that's an awesome deal for Will. Like, all the best to him. And I know it's a business, but there wasn't any of that like emotional, personal connection to watching the Commanders lose that game. Like when David Long picked it off, I like came up out of my fucking chair and was yelling at the TV. I was fired up because I was like, you know, holy shit, like they just got a fucking penalty and they're going to have 3 or 4 chances to win this game against the boys on the goal line. Everybody grab a hand and let's say a prayer because I'm wanting the two-tone blue to win. So there wasn't really any, other than like playing in the stuff on social media, there wasn't a whole lot of like, oh fuck, wish the Commanders would have pulled that one off.
Damn. I mean, 5 years in a place, you definitely make a lot of relationships, but there's been so much turnover since you've been gone. So many like crazy shits happen in that franchise as well. It's probably easy to separate yourself a little bit from that.
Yeah,
I mean, too, like, I don't know, you've been in obviously multiple locker rooms. Like the Titans, there's the only locker room I've ever been in, but it's everyone I talk to is like, this is like a super close group. It feels like college a little bit, no?
Yeah, no, Titans locker room's awesome. And like the Washington locker room is awesome. Like I don't want to negate the fact and say like I don't have a lot of good relationships there. There's still people I still talk with in that, even in that media market. I still talk with like the people who do all the journalism and everything else. Shout out the boy John Kyman, JP Finley, no free shout outs to those guys. But there's still like the few relationships that I still have. But you're right, like there's been so much turnover there. I'm sure it'd be a lot different like if the same coaching staff is there, like, you know, how at Green Bay, and I'm like, hey, my linebacker coach is there, my coordinator that I had in Washington, Joe Barry, Kirk Olivadotti, the linebacker coach, Matt LaFleur's the head coach, Bisaccia's the special teams coordinator. So there's a part of me that like roots for Green Bay because I want, you know, those are coaches I know and like played for and had a close relationship with. Like if I still had all of those coaches still at Washington and they just had a lot of different players on the roster, like I'm sure I would still pull for them because I know them. Like I just don't know Rivera at all. And again, like all the players have left outside of Tress Way. So I just don't know a whole lot of people. And it's not like, you know, that fan base with my experience was more like up and down because I was on the field and that one was treacherous, boys. You talk about football Twitter, like that's the worst experience I've had as far as like, you know, seeing just people just fucking hate, you know, the Washington football team, Commanders, R words, whatever we want to call them. But so there's a lot of that. There's just a lot of that to where when I was gone and then a couple years go by, it's just whatever. But going into the Titans, the relationships I've created there, and again, a lot of those guys are still on the team. Like Vrabel, that staff has still been the mainstay the whole time. Like I'm sure
That's your boy.
Yeah, that's the boy, dude. I'm sure if like for whatever reason that staff was gone and the roster got turned over, I would probably just pull for, you know, a certain player or some other team. You know what I mean? Like I'm so close with everybody, and you're still on the fucking team. Like you're my fucking boy. So you got a lot of like good dudes that are still on that team. And again, it's the same thing with the Raiders. Like the staff is new, but I still love a lot of those fucking guys who are out there right now. So that's kind of like, and you're right, the Titans locker room, that one, and the Raiders one, all of them, because I don't want to shit on the fucking Washington locker room. That was one of my favorites. But
yeah,
it's kind of how it goes. It's like the business.
Going back to being at Washington, this is not a shot by any means, but when you're like obviously playing more at Washington, like that Twitter, like you do one thing wrong and the world's burning.
Yeah, no doubt. Like that was like since I wasn't a draft pick and all this stuff, everybody's just always calling for me to not play. Fucking he's shitty. Like even when I make a good play, he's still shitty. And my mindset, I was way more wrapped up into the idea of being like a fucking like, you know, I've told you before, like my goal was like to be like a poor man's Luke Kuechly, like be one of the better linebackers in the fucking league. So like your mental is just super, I want to be I'm all football player. It wasn't until I got to like Tennessee and you go back to kind of taking a backseat to the starter and kind of like, this could be the end, like, let me enjoy it. And your mindset kind of shifts a little bit. And then your perspective kind of shifts because you realize like, okay, I'm going to be okay outside of like not being like a star player, or I'm just not able to get back in that limelight to where I kind of had to like deal with the fact that, okay, I could be a journeyman these next few years. Then we get the podcast going and then you kind of just see it from a whole different lens. But yeah, you're totally right. Like you're playing all the time and you're checking, you care so much about the product you put on film to where like, you know, we've talked about it where like my full identity was being an NFL player. And when that gets attacked, knowing all the work that you put in, like hard fucking work that you put in, and then people just, just have lazy, easy comments to judge, and that just affects you a lot more. So yeah, you're right. It's like a combination of playing a lot, And being in a media market like that, to where the team was never, you know, it's kind of like one of those teams that their last Super Bowl was in the '90s, I believe. But
Yeah.
yeah.
That stuff is fucking hard, dude. When it is for me, it's always when people come at your work ethic of like, this dude's lazy, he didn't take his rehab seriously, and that's why he's injured again. Like, those are the ones, because I mean, if all you got, and for the longest time, all I had was football, like it's like literally it's everything to you.
Yeah.
And so the work ethic point was like my mainstay. Like, if I just worked harder, the better. And when that's attacked, you definitely feel some type of way. Or everybody has their different, like, this keyword trigger when it comes to that stuff. And it's just it can be frustrating. But when you do zoom out a little bit and allow yourself to, like, even as simple as like laughing at yourself, like just being like, some dude on my Instagram yesterday was spouting off about how karma's come to get me. And I was like, hey, you're right. Like, my life fucking rips. I like the best life ever. Like, I appreciate it. And he was like, no, you tore your ACL, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, like, this dude's just sad, man. This dude's just a sad, sad boy.
Yeah. Trying to like punch up and pull somebody down into, like, it's like, yeah, you know how it is. Like, we've had so many conversations on it to where it is, you when you zoom out a little bit, which it's easier to do when you have something else going on, because you're right. Like, if you don't have anything else going on and all you have going on is ball, it's hard to zoom out because you fucking care so much. And again, like you said, like in the off seasons, like I mean, we've been around all these guys. No matter where we train, no matter where we go, you try to find like-minded people who sit there and you obsess over how do you get that 1% better all the time. And you're like grinding all year long. And then when you go and poke your head in the comments and everything else, and you kind of see stuff going against you, it kind of hits you in the gut if you don't have like a zoomed out perspective of it all, because you're like in the box.
Yeah. And it's interesting, like you said, when you're around other people and you see it, like when you're able to kind of like not disengage, but like allow yourself to take a step back and like kind of see everything from a bigger picture standpoint. Things, obviously the weights of things aren't as heavy as you thought they were. Like, Saturday I was in doing the rehab stuff, and some kid, I'm not going to say his name, but he's a young kid still in college, and he had the same injury I did, and his attitude was just like, he was super down the dumps and super, like, you could just tell in his mind he's fighting all these demons, just the way he's talking and the way he's acting. And it's like, man, like, you can't just look at him and like kind of put your hand on his shoulder and be like, hey, like, you're gonna be okay. Like, it's all good, dude. Like,
yeah,
this is gonna pass. Like, you're gonna get through it. Like, and it's obviously easier for me because I'm 31 years old and I've been in the league for 9 years. But like, this kid's 22 and his world's come crashing down in his head. And it's just like, buddy, like, you're 22, like, you're going to heal so much faster than everybody else. And you're going to be just fine. But like, just seeing this dude, I just feel bad thinking about him, because he was like just so in the dumps, just had a tough attitude. I hope he gets better fast, because it's just not a good place to be, being there before.
Yeah, and it's like how you're explaining to where the shoes that you're in, looking at them. It's one of those things, like when guys are first going through stuff, you can't teach experience. Like, you can say everything you want to a person until you're like blue in the face and try and talk about perspective. But until somebody like goes through it, like, you're a prime example. I mean, your two surgeries are like a couple years apart. Like, I'm sure this Taylor now probably looks back at the old Taylor, and now the reason you're probably in higher spirits is because you have such a different perspective. Like, you're still the same guy, not, same style of bank account, all that other stuff that people would love to have and be like, oh, why are you so upset, or why you take it so seriously? You're all good. But I'm sure like that, the perspective that you have now, looking back at the old Taylor a couple of years ago, similar guy, and you're just like, oh man, I wish I would have known all of this stuff, but you can't, because you can't teach experience.
Yeah, you can't teach experience, but like, there's things you can teach yourself, and it's his ability to like kind of like unpack those things, whether it's with somebody, with yourself, or reading, or having someone that you can confide in, and like being able to unpack that stuff and have like a better mindset when it comes to most things. And if you start realizing the things you can't control, like it's just out of your hands, and you move on from that, like, things just get better, and that can help in the experience, the learning curve of going through a traumatic situation like that. But yeah, you're right. Like, my attitude right now, as opposed to 2 years ago when I was sitting in the same exact spot, two totally different things. Like, you and I went through a month and a half of me not even responding to text because I was just so much in the dumps.
And then you would pretend to be Jerry Ainsworth when we would talk. And yeah, well, Yeah, no,
He's no
I know
pretend.
what you mean. Yeah,
Jerry's real.
yeah, no, but I know what you mean. Like there's just two totally different like experiences through it all. But
Yeah,
this
it's a
was
wild deal, dude.
this was a nice little unpacking. Nice little
Dude, it's like
nice deep
last
dive
week
into
was
the
a nice little
psyche.
brain pod, and then today's a good unpack, like a nice little where we at emotionally. And this is nice, dude. 2 weeks of good pods.
Yeah, dude, nice checking out. The numbies last week too, bro, has been up. If you're guy, for everybody watching right now, like Taylor and I are aware of all the positive vibes that get thrown out there. Continue to drop comments. Continue to RIP Taylor Lewan. We love him. We miss him. We care about him so much. But yeah, dude, this has been two good pods. Something I'll transition a little bit. Should we hit on other NFL headlines before we get out of it? Obviously, we'd love to.
Should we talk about Detroit real quick?
We're going to take a pause for a second. We're going to shout out Lightbox Jewelry. No free shout outs to Lightbox Jewelry. Finding the perfect stone for any type of jewelry is difficult, confusing, and often insanely expensive. Lightbox Jewelry offers lab grown diamonds that are beautiful, high quality, and affordably and transparently priced. It's what's crazy about it is that you would hear lab grown diamonds and think like, okay, they're not natural diamonds. So what gives? Guys, this quality and everything else, the 4 C's that determine pricing, all the guys that buy wedding rings and diamonds and stuff for their significant other, you guys know what I'm talking about. Those 4 C's can be confusing, the clarity, the cut, the whatever else. There's a couple others out there, but Lightbox is out to make the whole process of finding the perfect lab grown diamond more straightforward and transparent. Lightbox lab grown diamonds are all grown in their industry changing lab, all grown to the same stunning standards. So they're all priced the same, equal and fairly priced at $800 a carat. There's no guessing involved. You get more carats, it's more than $800. You get less carat, it's less than $800. The more or less you get, the more or less you pay. It's simple as that. So shop now at lightboxjewelry.com and use the boys 10. That's THEBOYS 10 for 10% off. Shop loose stones for custom jewelry at lightboxjewelry.com and get 10% off with the code THEBOYS10. Back to the episode. Yeah, I would love to talk about Detroit because Coach Dan Campbell was in the media yesterday saying that they've hit rock bottom. That they're at rock bottom, which is to me is like, I understand the messaging. Like I understand that he's going to go in, you're going to use this as fuel and everything else. But as far as like, look, you had a bad game. You had a fucking off game. Like to me, the similar, because I bet on the Lions, bet the bus. We went money line, lock of the week, the Detroit Lions. I truly felt so fucking good about that pick to where that was such a game that like, that's one of the games you just got to throw the tape in the trash, not talk about it, keep the vibes high, pretend it didn't happen. And just like move on from that, because at the end of the day, you got shut out, goose egged when you're averaging 35 points a game. But to go and say rock bottom, I think that's a little far because I do think the Lions are still like a good football team.
Well, you know exactly what they're doing. Dan Campbell's he's doing exactly what you just said. He's basically saying like this is the worst it can possibly be, which you know it's not. Like
Right.
The worst it could possibly be is if you got shut out the last 4 games or 5 games. That's the worst possible situation. And like you said, they're putting up 35 points a game. They put like 319 yards of offense up with a couple of things: strip sack, fumble, pick 6, I believe. Like they had some bad things not go their way, but they're still moving the ball up and down the field the entire game. Like, listen, it's the Patriots. Like they do a great job of scheming against other teams. You got Zappy in there. Old Zappy boy seems like he's a future guest in the bus. Kid seems like an absolute winner in my opinion. But Danny boy, first off, besides him doing those bullshit up downs during training camp, I'm all about Dan Campbell. I think he's an absolute stud, and he's getting Detroit in the right direction. Because I don't know a time that the Lions were ever in a good position since I've literally been alive. Especially when I was at Michigan. When your boy was at Michigan, there was literally no talk of the Detroit Lions. When the Detroit Lions picked at 10 in 2014 and I wasn't picked yet, I was literally like, please God, no. Please do not send me to this team. And now it's not that vibe, dude. The vibes are way higher in Detroit. All right, the Four family's done a good job. They brought Dan in. He's a man's man. He's probably the second toughest NFL coach in the entire NFL. He's done a phenomenal job, and they're trending in the right direction. They're doing this, dude. They're like stocks, baby. He is inflation. He's going up, and we just got to make sure it keeps going. They had a tough day.
They had a dip. The stock market has a dip. Stock market has a little dip every now and then too.
No, but you know what I'm saying? It's inflation, baby. It's gas prices, it's food prices. Some food prices have gone up 230%. Will, I know you don't look at your bank account very much, but it costs buying a gallon of milk right now is a little tough. I'm saying Dan's going up in a good way, not the way that I'm talking about right now. So Danny boy, I think he's got the Lions in a really good position. I think they're going to be all right. They've been in every single game this entire year except for this one. Their record doesn't show that, but they're fucking doing their thing. They're not the Lions of old, and they have Aiden Hutchinson, who I am a huge fan of.
The boss is massive fans of Aiden Hutchinson.
Massive.
Hey,
He's got a small head, and that bothers me a little bit. I'm not going to get like too much into it. He does have a tiny head. It makes his shoulders look much more broad than they are. But high effort guy, high energy. Word on the street is a couple of weeks ago we played through an injury, kept playing hard. And so Aiden Hutchinson for president.
Yeah, he's built like a Chevy, but I wanted to comment on, you said Dan Campbell with the up downs. So your boy, whenever I worked out for the Saints a few years ago and had an awesome workout, body bag to workout, but that's beside the point. When I signed the next day going in, they're like, hey, get my boy Zicky Hood, who was on the team at the time, and he was like, hey, get ready for these up downs you're gonna have to do. And I was like, up downs? What are you talking about? He goes, yeah, anybody who signs and comes in, anybody who's like a new player on defense, they got to do 50 up downs to start practice. Like after the warm up and everything else, he said the defense will be surrounding you and you'll have 50 up downs off a coach's whistle to get initiated onto the team. And I'm like, oh my fucking God. Hey, and remember too, like the night before I'm talking with like you and Taylor and Charles, and there's a part of me that's like, not like, man, do I want to still play? Do I not want to play? Blah, 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 blah. And then they hear like, I'm going to have to do 50 up downs. And they're like, and then the kicker is, bro, we do the whole warm up. We break it down. Offense separates defense. We go into individual period. But before individual period, Coach Dennis Edwards, it's Dennis Allen, Coach Dennis Allen, the D coordinator at the time, who's now the head coach for the Saints. But D coordinator at the time blows his whistle. Everybody bring it up. The whole defense, hey, bring it up before individual. Defense goes over there. He's like, all right, we got a new player on the team. Will Compton, get up here, brother. And everybody's surrounding. Everybody's like, yeah, Will. And I'm just like, oh my God. He's like, you got 50 up downs to get initiated into the team. And he sits there and blows them every few seconds. And I do 50 fucking up downs, fully padded, bro. Uppers, not fully padded, but shoulder pads on and helmet on. 50 up downs. And then when we get done, he's like, all right, can't break it down. I break it down, and then we disperse and do individual drill. Your boy's like fucking Bambi just coming out of the womb, trying to go over bags, and everybody's kind of laughing at me. And I literally said, hey, I need a water break because I'm like starting close to like passing out because you go straight from 50 up downs to doing individual.
Yeah, dude, that's some dumb shit.
Yo, is that not wild? And you can see Coach Campbell, he's probably got him doing the 50 up downs or however many up downs to start that one Hard Knocks practice or whatever. But dude, just think about being a cat coming in and being like, hey, you got 50 up downs and then you're going to do individual with the boys.
Yeah, dude. I'm all in on Dan Campbell except for the fucking up downs. Those things can kick rocks.
Any other headlines we got to cover? Because I would love to jump into, go ahead, Jack. What do you got?
Unless you want to talk about Michigan, Nebraska stuff.
We can transition to college ball. I was just going to say anything in the NFL realm.
The viral trainer video.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Bussin with the boys.
Oh, that buddy getting jerked off on the sideline?
Yeah. Dude, that
First
tweet.
off, full cheeks out, too. That dude definitely does squats.
Full cheeks, bro. That boy had ass poking out the back. No pause.
Bro.
But you can't help but being like, oh, man, that dude's got an ass back there.
My man was pulling a Buick.
We just paused for a second. Moment of silence.
Moment of silence for those cheeks.
Hey, moment of silence.
Yeah. Moment of silence for the cheeks on back of that receiver. And we're back.
Yeah, dude, he was looked like he was definitely getting stroked off. Obviously, he's just putting some stop pain or whatever, some icy hot type shit on his groin, right?
Oh, I think time will tell. Who knows with the other tape, the other angles will show. But yeah. Hey, that tweet that the boys had, it's almost got 100,000 likes. Like it's like the most viral tweet we've ever had.
What are you talking about? Deshaun Watson to the Giants?
Yeah, Deshaun Watson. If we're just talking strictly performance of the Bussin with the Boys Twitter page, one of the best tweet we've ever had.
The best tweet.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure didn't part of my Steal that?
Yeah, they stole that. They stole that tweet. I can't believe it's surprising when brands steal content from other brands, because you and I both know when we sat down at the beginning of this thing, Taylor, we were like, we want to do it our way. We want to stay original. We don't want to steal anything from anybody. So I just think it's sad when other brands do want to steal content and make it their own from Bussin' with the Boys.
Yeah, that's a tough deal. It's definitely tough, and those guys are obviously co-workers of ours or partners or whatever you want to call it, and great relationship. It's kind of a weird time too, like right in the middle of Spooktober, they want to just start copping shit.
Yeah.
But
They don't follow us on Twitter,
all the
though,
respect
I
to them.
realized yesterday. So how good is our relationship with them?
Who doesn't follow?
Pardon my take. They don't follow us on Twitter.
Ammunition.
Well, before he said that comment, I thought it was a little bit better than it was. That's tough.
Hey, we did sign.
That's a tough deal.
We did re-sign with Barstool Boys. Shouts to Bussin' with the Boys, re-signing with Barstool Sports. It's always massive. It's always massive when you can re-sign into a second contract with any brand, whether you're a player playing for a team, a brand with a media company, doesn't matter. But that's massive news for Bussin' with the Boys.
That's big. That's big news for us. Big news for Barstool as well. I don't want to take away. I think if you really looked back at our last contract and how we operated and did everything, we outplayed our contract. And I think both sides saw that. There was a good agreement. Obviously, Dave's a smart man. He went to Michigan. All of those guys have received you incredibly well. Looking forward to playing my hat in the ring of enjoying some more content with the boys. So overall, I think it's a good start. But like it is, it's just a start, Willie. It's just a start. If I was there right now, I'd shake your hand again, brother.
I know, because we're not even close to scratching the surface, but just to see the work that's paid off over these 3 years, because again, like you said, yeah, we've outperformed our contract, but in the beginning, we were getting into an awesome deal. It's one of those things where you're like outperforming in the middle of it. We just kept our head down and work, no bitching, no complaining, no saying, hey, we need this, we need that. Then when you get rewarded at the end of the contract.
Yeah, the boys, like I said, it's not even the beginning. It's just the beginning. So we'll keep that going. I think it's a big deal that Nebraska beat Rutgers, and that's not a shot, because I know anybody who's listening to this podcast goes, "Yeah, you beat Rutgers. Like, who cares?" That's not what I'm trying to get at all. Like, what I'm trying to get at is, right now, the Big Ten championship was played to be Michigan versus Nebraska, and that's exactly what every viewer of this podcast wants to see. I think what I said last week still stands. We need Michigan to win this, unless you can get a hold of Nebraska and say, hey, choose a streak. They don't ask how, they ask how many. Now, do you guys want to sign this paper and make it legit? They go and do that. It's a 50-50 game, coin toss. You obviously take your side, I'll take my side. We'll go 12 rounds and see what happens. But I think at this moment, we all are on the Michigan bandwagon, and we need to just ride that train hard to keep long-term, keep Bussin' with the boys up. And I know that also transitioning, Dennis Kelly, you guys are playing Purdue this week.
Can I comment? Can we get in there? Can I get some comments in?
There's nothing really to comment about, Will, to be honest with you.
There is, brother. There is.
You said your piece last week.
No, there is, because you're not really selling. At the end of the day, here's the facts. There's one signature out of 4 that we need. There's one. John Harbaugh, which we got in springtime. We still need the signature of the AD from Michigan. So let's not act like, oh, Nebraska's got to do it first and then we'll do it. Like, at the end of the day, if you sit there and have your AD sign it, then it's like, oh, we can maybe get some more things to shake. Maybe Nebraska starts coming around a little bit more if all parties sign. We get your AD, I don't know his name, but we get him to hit up Trev Alberts like, hey, let's have some fun with this thing. You never know. But what I want to do is I would like to focus on our win streak, because we got a big win streak going on right now too. And like you already said it, yeah, you might think Rutgers, yada, 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 but all the turmoil we've had and the adversity we've been facing over the last few weeks, that's a gritty fucking win. You going at halftime down 13-0, JP and I booked it out of there. I said, fuck, brother, what happens if we lose this game? I might have to go into the cave and hibernate for a few months and not speak on anything, because what do you root for? What optimism do you give the people? And being those players in that locker room, you can easily just roll over and quit. It doesn't fucking matter. You got a new coach. Let's start planning for next year. Guys who might be draft eligible or going to the NFL, let's just focus on making our own plays. Who gives a fuck what the system or the operation looks like? The other kids, who cares? We got a new coordinator, we got a new head coach. Let's just go out there and have fun. But no, something happened. They sparked it up. They came back and rallied a 14-13 victory in somebody else's backyard. And I do want to shout out Husker Nation, because there were a lot of people. There was a lot of red in that blackout crowd. But I don't want to sleep on that win. We got a tough Purdue team we're gonna face. we can transition to that. I don't know if you want to comment on what I said about the Bussin Bowl, but the Bussin Bowl, it's like it's already unofficially official. Like we're having the Bussin Bowl. You can root for whoever you want. Like it doesn't. We don't need Michigan to win to make it seem like, oh, we're gonna have the Bussin Bowl forever. Because like you're gonna do, I'm gonna take that trophy. I'm going to leave you on the field in your wheelchair as you're out there. I'm going to take that trophy and we're going to fly that thing to fucking Nebraska and we're going to hang it in the rafters.
First off, you can't hang a trophy in the rafters. Second off, it's pretty ridiculous for you to say anything like that. Like, I understand what you're saying, and I know, like, you're kind of backed into a corner right now. There's no better Will Compton than Will Compton in the corner. That man will come out fighting. He's absolutely, you're like Sylvester Stallone, dude. You're Rocky. You're fighting it out. And I appreciate that so much about you. Here's what I will say. It's the obvious that the Bulls wanted to force an interest. Okay, that's already 25%, which is also 50% of what Michigan needs to do for the Bussin Bowl to happen. They've already said, we'll gladly sign. Go and get your 80 to sign. We'll sign too. I'm sure if I called any of the boys over there at Michigan right now, they'd bring it over to 80. The 80 goes, what? You want to do a trophy game with them? Yeah, no problem. And he probably signed.
What's the question?
Faster than Harbaugh did. You'll have your turn to talk. So when
all
these things are going through your head, this is why it's the easy situation. Nebraska, go Big Red. I fucking love Nebraska. I think what an outstanding historical program. I can't wait till they get back at second place in the Big Ten, just behind Michigan, because I think it's better for everybody involved. I bleed red. But I think they took the easy way out. Instead of looking adversity in the eye, they decided to go around it and say, hey, we're not going to deal with that issue right now. We're not going to put any more out there because we're nervous about how things look instead of what the actual future is supposed to look like. So for me, and anybody that's a logical thinker says, okay, Michigan wins this game, they're gladly going to take the trophy. They're glad they take the trophy. Once they take the trophy, Nebraska wins next year, they take it back. Now all of a sudden, you just tricked yourself. You played yourself. You're now in your own trophy game. So I get it. I understand what your logic is because you want so badly for Nebraska not to be the enemy in the situation. I'm not saying they are. I'm really just saying that they didn't hold their end of the bargain, unfortunately, and that's okay. If this domino piece falls, it'll be a much easier transition to making the unofficial Bussin Bowl an official Bussin Bowl. That's what I think. JP just texted him. He said, yeah, okay. Thank you, JP. Going to we're going to Purdue.
JP.
Relax, man. Moving on, Taylor, like you said.
Yeah, I will just move on.
We are going to take a moment to shout out Revitalite. Revitalite is an advanced rehydration solution designed to replenish vital fluids and minerals that are inside of your body. It's powered by the same electrolyte formula found in the baby aisle, but with an improved taste and texture more appealing to adults. I'm getting thirsty. I did get a little swallow in there. No pause. Revitalite is conveniently sold next to beer, wine, and liquor, so you can shop like an adult and hydrate responsibly. Barstool Black labeled the berry frost flavor. Pro tip, boys, drink half of this at nighttime before you hit the streets, and then the other half in the morning for the most optimal results. Pick up your Revitalite Black label today, in-store or online at the Barstool store, and tweet at us or tag at Drink Revitalite in your morning after stories.
Talk to me. What was the next thing we were going to talk about? We were talking about Purdue?
Purdue.
Is it at Purdue or is it at Nebraska?
Is that a home game for the boys?
Look.
Yeah, let's check it out.
Before you even look into that, like you can. It doesn't matter. Purdue is a medium to okay team in the Big Ten. They have the worst, unless something's changed in the stadium, they have the worst stadium in the Big Ten. They have a giant media box in a small stadium. The paint hurts when you fall on it. Shout out Ryan Kerrigan, probably the best player to ever come out of Purdue. Him and Drew Brees, obviously. I think if it's an away game and Nebraska's at Purdue, it's still a home game. Yes. Nebraska fans are going to show up. Two's the streak, and I think the streak goes even longer. I think it's going to be an easy dub for the boys. Now, easy is relative, right? Like Rutgers should have probably been a little bit easier, but it wasn't. But I will say that Nebraska's getting that third win.
Yeah, I did like what you say about Rutgers. Like, yes, it should have been an easier win. Like before that game, I'm thinking all right, boys, you got to handle these guys. But all the circumstances, again, I talked about going in at halftime and coming out and still getting that win. I thought it was like a good It's like a good gritty fucking victory that you need because it's like a classic Mike Vrabel speech. Like you're not going to be the most talented team on the field. You're going to have to make it dirty each and every week, and those are the wins. That's how we're going to have to win. Now let's not start off and spot them 13 points. You know that speech. Let's not spot them 13 points. Yeah. Let's play smarter ball in the first half. But guys, that we're going to have to make it dirty every week. I agree. Like I think it'll be a tough game because. I know they're a medium to okay team in the Big Ten. The Big Ten West is wide open. I think everybody's got like the same fucking record. It just shows how competitive the West is. But I'm not going to disrespect Purdue in any way because I think they are a solid football team. And I think we need to respect the game here. And but I do like Nebraska at home in Purdue to muscle out a gritty win once again. And that'll be that's the fuel we need. I think that's the fuel we need because then who do we got after that? Minnesota? Illinois? Illinois, another tough team. Another, listen now, they got some stuff cooking in Illinois, especially because Bet the Bus. I think we've been pioneering some Illinois talk for a while now because we've been riding those boys the last few weeks. But Coach Brett Bielema, who came from Wisconsin, went down to, I think, Arkansas and then Illinois, like he's a culture builder now. He's got some stuff going on. He's got those boys believing over in Illinois. But yeah, Illinois, they're a tough little football team. I think you're going to start knowing it. I think you're going to start seeing it now that you get more time to like watch the games unfold. I think you're going to have a lot more respect for all the teams in the Big Ten.
The West is wide open. I guess that's about as far as I got with you on that. I think it's competitive there and competitive in that conference. I'm with you on that one.
Who's Michigan got?
Penn State.
Penn State. I mean that's a good game. I think that's a good test for you guys because I think we need to. Go ahead. You can go ahead. I've been talking a lot.
No, I just think it's a big test because Michigan's been winning games and the numbers that you look at the end score are dominant, but the fashion in which they win them, they need to tie it up a little bit. They're a fantastic program. They're better than I ever was when I was at Michigan. What happened last year to us in the national championship game, it was obviously a hard pill to swallow. And so now Michigan's mindset needs to be, how do we compete with those teams? How do we compete with those teams that are in the national championship year in and year out, talking about the Alabama and the Georgias? You need to go to Penn State, or Penn State needs to go to us. I don't know which one's which. I think it's actually home. And you need to win that game. And it doesn't need to be a blowout. It needs to be a W. You get a W, 4 versus 10. You cemented yourself, okay, you guys are legit. And I think Michigan's legit, but the last 2 weeks, the way it's kind of panned out a little bit, it was 10-10 versus Indiana going into half. Obviously, superior coaching took over. They knew the rules better than Indiana did and took advantage of that. I think that's another situation we looked at with the referees. You're kind of like, hey, like these refs are really trying to make it more about themselves than they are the game. A lot of laundry on the field. But and then they had a blocked field goal in which came into Michigan re-blocking Indiana.
Yeah, that was wild.
That next series. It was a wild series of events. Like that couldn't have played out in a movie. It wouldn't even been realistic. So I think Michigan's got their hands full, but I think it's a dub. I think it's a dub. You get this one, and I think you can't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure Michigan State is a week after that, and we all know what that is. Michigan by 1 billion. There's no question about that. That'll be an absolute donkey stopping. And East Lansing will burn.
Yeah, listen, if I'm not rooting for Nebraska, I'm fucking cheering hard for Michigan and fucking Tennessee, dude. Michigan, I feel like...
Yeah, that was a great little poll right there. The Vols are something, dude. And I was on Instagram last night, and it was like, this coming week, Vols versus Alabama. I showed my phone to Talon. I go, Vols by 1 billion.
Yeah, bro, I'm fired up about the Vols, man. Jack, you should have a lot. You should be flying. You should be flying high right now, bro, because Tennessee back in the fold of college football conversations, I think is good for everybody. Not only are they like they're not like a. Oh, we gotta fly.
Wow. It's okay, Will. It's okay.
Didn't get it. They're not like a Tennessee team who's ranked 8 either. That's like, a fraudulent 8 team that's like riding the SEC a little bit.
I mean, 3 ranked top 25 wins.
I was following up. Like
you do it.
Before as the season started.
Listen, he'll handle it.
Before the season started, they rattled off a couple games against the JV varsity squad. You guys handled them, and I think the hope was hopefully they are undefeated before they get to Bama type of thing. Now They're undefeated. They might have a shot against Alabama. They might have a shot to shock the world because Alabama, they might not have their quarterback this weekend. Garrett's got his head down right now. He's staying calm and confident. He's thinking like, all right, there's going to be an uproar about this. All this stuff's going to go down this week. I think Bama's going to handle business. Maybe. But I think if Tennessee is within, let's say Tennessee loses. If they lose by like less than 14, I think they're a team that's like, you guys are kind of back right now.
Yeah.
And I think
That's
Garrett,
fine. That's fine.
sitting
I'm
the
not
way
gonna
he
make
is,
any
that-
like outrageous claims right now. Like we're gonna like sweep like Bama. Like I do think that when Tennessee is doing really well, it's good for the entire college football atmosphere. Just because we're one of those historic programs that back in the '90s, just like Nebraska, it feels better, and I think it also makes the SEC. I know you guys are Big Ten, but the SEC East is very weak when Tennessee struggles because we've got like the South Carolinas and the Kentuckys with us, like trying to hang on. But
That's fair. That's fair.
But I'm not gonna make any claims. It's gonna be a fun weekend, so I'm ready for it.
JP, you wanted to say something?
Where's it at?
It's at Tennessee, Alabama at Tennessee. So Knoxville's going to be burning to the fucking ground before the game starts.
It is also the first time that Alabama and Tennessee have been playing this game both at 5-0 since 1989. So 30 years in the making of a historic game. Just hoping to finally light that cigar.
I'm pulling for the Vols, baby.
Let's go.
Big Vol energy, bro. I fucking want Orange to
fucking
win,
go,
man.
Vols.
Oh.
Taylor, what were you going to say about the Volunteers?
Oh no, I'm with the Volunteers all the way. I don't like it. The camera panned over to Garrett. I didn't like the way he was sitting. It fucking pissed me off actually because Alabama is like the college version of white privilege. It's just ridiculous. It's out of hand. He needs to take a step back. Alabama needs to take a step back. Dude, it's a little too much.
Those guys need to be stopped. Yeah, he's calling for the mic.
Go ahead.
What's
Hey,
up?
Garrett, give us your best lacrosse opinion.
All I was saying is that, it's going to be a huge test. I think in a weird way that Saban does will like try and make us be like not an underdog, but kind of play it up to like, well, we don't have our
In
quarterback.
his locker room.
Right.
Yeah.
He'll do that. I think us dropping a number 3 is going to be really interesting because if we do lose, I think you drop far.
Rat poison. And then when they do win, it's going to be nice rat
Taylor
poison.
is all about that rat poison.
That rat poison, dude.
But no, it's going to be electric. I'm excited. I like wouldn't want to miss this for anything.
Yeah. I'm fired up. For Tennessee. Like, obviously, Bama, like,
My heart's racing.
you guys
just
are like
talking
top
about it.
3 all year long, every year in, year out. But the fact that Tennessee's in this kind of driver's seat, because they got a tough little stint coming up. But them beating the fuck out of LSU and then making it like a home game at the end and everybody just singing Rocky Top, like the juice was electric in Baton Rouge for Tennessee. Now they got Alabama coming to their home turf. Like it's going to be fucking awesome, dude.
I think it's going to be an electric game. Are you guys going?
Yeah.
Garrett and Jack are like, they're for sure. Like Jack immediately texted asking for tickets last night. Like it was classic Jack story. Like Vols win. Hey, massive favorites. All good if you can't do it. I loved it. Like you can tell the vibes are high with those guys right now.
Dude, the thing about Jack is he's not afraid to ask for things. That's for sure.
Worst thing that can happen, Jack, is what? They say no. You can take it on the chin.
They say no, baby. That's all.
Hey, but I do want to
Should we
give.
hit this up?
I wanted to shout out Michigan because we did have that little transition, but I think you're 1000% right about Michigan. Like I'm rooting for blue, dude. And the last couple weeks, it's been exactly what you said. They've been kind of shaky wins. Like on the scoreboard at the end, it looks good, it looks pretty, but I think they need a strong win against Penn State, like at least 2 scores at least, and in a fashion where you're like, all right, Michigan's for sure a top 5, top 3 team in the country.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. I think that's got to be the case. I don't know about 14, maybe 10. You win by 10 against a top 10 team. Boom.
Has Penn State been playing
I don't
well?
know very much about the Nittany Lions. I don't know much about that at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know about their team, who they got. Like all I can say, I can just live on blind pride right now and say that Michigan's going to win by 1 billion.
Well, yeah, you live on blind pride, but like you guys got a good football team. It's like you just want to see them, like you see the other top 5 teams, you just want them to establish good wins to where it's like, all right, we're hanging with these guys. We just got to buy our time until we're fucking playing the Nebraskas of the world and the Ohio States toward the end of the year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Do we want to do shout out, no free shout out of the week?
I think it's time. Yeah, it's time for shout out. No free
Let's
shout out.
go. Let me pull out my list.
Let me pull out my list.
I got a list.
We got a list.
Oh, it's a decent one. I don't know about a decent one, but one that came in clutch for the boy recently. Taylor, you want to do the announcements? You want to kick off JP in the back? We don't have Bloss with us.
Bloss is gone. He decided to bow out of this one. He was too worried about making a little stutter. Love Bloss Fernandez to death. He's an outstanding individual. I hope whatever he's doing it with love and passion. But today we have the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who with the most sleeper picks of all time, Mr. JP himself.
Let's go, JP. Deliver it up for the boys.
This week, my shout out, no free shout out, goes to something that happens inside of usually a public bathroom. And it's when you're peeing and there's like a piece of trash or something in the toilet and you're just like, you lock in on it, target acquired, and just drill it with your pee. You just do what you want with it. So that's I guess my shout out, no free shout out is to like target practice in public bathrooms with your pee.
Being a marksman with your piss.
Yes, I love
Being
it.
a marksman with your piss, dude.
That's a really good one. Something that's so good about that too is I don't know if you guys noticed, but about 10 years ago they put like little like clams or hearts or like rainbows at the point of the urinal.
Yeah.
And it's like a study was done to make sure that like men will actually look at that and go, I'm gonna hit that thing the whole time. And it helps with the splash factor. So you're just doing what you naturally do, JP. You're a caveman, baby. That was impulsive. You just did it, and I love that.
Yes.
You got Jack next.
Jackie, baby. I know you're probably out there. You're probably just dehydrated from all the moms left, right, and center, or maybe you've been LARPing with the outfit. I have no idea. But Stud, let's hear what you have today.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity for shoutouts this weekend after both Tennessee teams took a big win. But mine is going to not a team, but a person, and that is the one and only Jeremy Klump, aka the Nutty Professor. He's one of our interns who is not in Nashville with us, so we don't get to see him every day. But he's been slaughtering it on Twitter, just like father of 3 out there, covering it and helping the boys out. So he's been asking me when that shout out's going to come. You can't just get a free shout out. You got to work for it. He earned this one. So shout out to the Nutty Professor.
Dude, shout out to the Nutty Professor. He's been on a terror on Twitter, bro. We've been climbing the charts, bro. He's been putting some bangers out there and covering ball. You got Mitch.
Speaking of ball, dude, that's a pretty powerful stance you got there, Will.
Wide stance.
Hanging out.
Yeah. Can you see this?
Can you please put the camera on Mitch real quick? I just want to make sure he's not wearing Ohio State stuff. I saw it was red. Jesus.
Dude, he is wearing
What
fucking
the
Chiefs
fuck
gear.
are
I
we
know,
doing?
bro. I know.
We got a big game tonight.
Raiders Chiefs rivalry.
Who do you play for?
I mean, what? We got Jack wearing Tennessee gear. I mean, granted, it's the hometown team, but it is what it is.
Did you go to the University of Kansas City Chiefs?
What did you say?
He said you go to the University of Kansas City Chiefs?
No, I did not.
Okay, then. Mitch, I'll tell you what, dude, this has been 2 tough weeks for us. But I fucking love you. I don't think your life choices are the best, but it's not for me to tell you what to do with your life. Let's hear what your shout out, no free shout out of the week is.
All right, my shout out, no free shout out of the week this week is goes to those Sunday mornings after a Saturday night out where you just recap the entire night with your boys and you're like, you don't remember half the stuff that went on and you're like, oh wait, I did that, or like, oh shit, I did that, and then you were like, oh, but you were an asshole and you were doing all this stuff. So, and like you just get the best stories from the night, even if you don't remember them. But so, yeah.
Shout out, no free shout out to the night after going out, piecing together the stories with the boys.
Sunday morning after
It's a strong shout out.
Pros and cons to both those, though, Willie. There's always they're called the Sunday scaries for a reason. I think when you have a good solid night out and you remember the most of it, and you do sit down, maybe it's in your dorm room, frat, or your house with the boys, and you sit there and you all reconvene in that dirty living room that you have and get together and swap stories. There is there's really not a feeling like it. And I think if you get the better end of those two situations of anxiety or happiness, you hit that happiness key point. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah. Good shout out.
It can go both ways, but it's a good story or a bad story.
I love it. All right, Garrett, let's hear what merch we're shouting out this week, buddy.
Can you hear?
something?
Hey, can you hear Taylor
I
Garrett?
can't hear him. I can't hear him.
He said, "Let's hear what merch you're shouting out this week, Garrett."
Dude,
Taylor's in
get a
full
new
on.
joke, Taylor.
Oh shit! R.I.P. R.I.P. Taylor.
We'll see you when you get back. But no, my shout out, no free shout out this week is going to be when you're driving and you got the windows down, and it usually happens around this time of year. You catch a little whiff of a bonfire
Ooh.
or somebody on the grill, and you're just kind of like, okay, somebody in the neighborhood's having a good night, good evening. My shout out is to bonfires and grilling outside when the weather starts to turn.
Ooh, hey, I kind of like that. I like that when you do catch
That's
a
a header.
bomb.
That's a header. That's a header.
Yeah, it's a hitter.
That's a header.
You catch a bonfire
Maybe
smell,
Taylor.
you do kind of perk up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do kind of perk up
And,
like, oh, what's going on?
Why weren't we invited? What's going on? Why weren't we invited?
Yeah, no, for sure. The grill one is
That's a solid one. Willie, baby, what you got, dude?
All right, so my shout out, goes to when you're dropping a big dog, and hey, that big dog's getting big, and you don't hit him with the courtesy flush. You're filling that thing up, and then, but that's not the shout out. The shout out goes to when you end up creating a bind for yourself when that big dog doesn't flush and you get a clogged toilet, and fortunately in the bathroom you see a plunger. My shout out goes to that plunger when you're in a fucking pinch and you got that plunger and you try and flush, and then you just see it rise and gets to the top and you think to yourself, can I get one more flush in before it overflows and pours onto the floor and I look absolutely ridiculous? So you sit there, you wait it out, you're sweating a little bit. As it goes down, you hear it turn off. You kind of like let the water seep down just a little bit and you start going in with that plunger, dude. You just start fucking and then you take a shot, you hit the flush and you hear it going and you just start fucking going again, dude, because you're like, all right, we fucking need this. And you just hear that subtle little quiet pop down at the bottom to where you see it all spinning and going down, and you think to yourself, this fucking plunger, you did your fucking job, brother. And then you try and time the drip to where you don't drip it on the floor, and then you try and get it back over into the little plunger fucking deal. And that's my shout out, dude, because that happened to the boy a few days ago and I was in a bind. And fortunately, there's a plunger in there and we made it fucking happen. And I thought to myself, like, this happens. This is like an underappreciated shout out because the plungers, it's like the offensive linemen of the bathroom. They don't get a lot of shout outs. They don't get a lot of credit for what they do. But when you need them, they come in handy for you. So my shout out
They're
goes to
there,
them plungers.
baby.
They're there for you.
Dude, I didn't know what to think about that the entire time.
I don't think the boys back there did
But-
either. I saw them look at each other and go, plunger.
Hype for a second, but
And then I was like, well, what does he mean? Like plunging it, okay, but there is that satisfaction when you finally pull that thing out and it just spins and goes down. You're like, I'm really that handy. I really just did that shit. I didn't ask for help or nothing.
Yeah, bro. And it's my truth. All right, Taylor, give it to us, brother.
Shout out, no free shout out of the week. What's that?
Give it to us, brother.
My shout out, no free shout out of the week. This happened to me about 2 years ago, but that song came back on. So I was driving to rehab today, and a song came on that I used to beat the shit out of, dude. And I loved it. The first time I heard it, I literally got goosebumps. That's how much it overwhelms my body. And so my shout out, no free shout out, is when you find that song that literally moves you, changes your life for whatever reason, and then you just constantly just beat the shit out of it until you almost can't stand the sound of the song anymore. That month to 2 month vibe, that's my shout out.
Just wearing a fucking song out, dude.
Wear them out, boys.
Kind of close to one of your old ones. Yeah. What was yours? Finding that right song. The song just hits different. Yeah.
It's really not close. It's like saying, okay, music.
I tell you, but there's like you get a couple that close within the same month where you're shouting out something with the tunes. I get I see both sides. We're trying to have positive vibes. We're trying to have high vibes. We're trying to have high vibes.
Yeah, but whose side are you taking?
What do you mean? I'm both of your sides. I'm pro boys. I'm pro vibes.
Pro vibes, boys. Pro
Pro
vibes. I love it.
vibes, dude.
Boys.
Okay, this last question is brought to us by Roback Question. The Roback Question, and they're sponsoring Tier Talk. What are your favorite Spooktober festivities from October 1st to October 31st? But use code BOYS, BOYS, on roback.com for 20% off your first purchase. That's RHOBACK.com, code BOYS. They work with the best college athletes in the country, from Will Anderson to the boy Michael Mayer. They also just dropped new performance joggers, and trust us, you're going to want these. Use code BOYS for 20% off. Hey, so Tier Talk this week, we're going to do Spooktober festivities, rank them 3 to 1. How do you guys want to do the back of the bus? Do you guys already have something in the cooking in the tank?
What is it?
Yeah, Spooktober festivities.
We can have some.
All right. Yeah, because low key, I'm almost not really a whole lot of prepared yet, but I think I got.
Let's take a second.
Yeah, okay, we can take a second. You guys are locked in? All right, set it off.
We back?
We're back. Tier Talk, Spooktober festivities, anything between October 1 and October 31st.
The boys are going.
All right, the back of the
from
bus.
Back of the bus. We got to throw in an honorable mention just because it revolves around Garrett Shoutout, but honorable mention to any kind of bonfire in the fall. Kills, the smells, the vibes, great. Moving on. 3, the traditional classic pumpkin patch. You go with like your girl, or like maybe you go with your family, grab a pumpkin. Maybe they got a nice jug of cider, whatever. Get it. You go home, carve it. That's when you like know Halloween's like beginning. You put it out on the stoop, light a candle. The energy's great. So pumpkin patch 3. Number 2, the always scary and must do activity, a haunted house. Whether it's like kind of a whatever haunted house, not too scary, or like one of those where you have to sign a waiver. Like that's the one I'm rolling with. You want to go where you got to sign a waiver, where there's some kind of threat or danger to you that you're going to face for the next 30 minutes.
How many haunted houses have you went to with a fucking waiver?
I've been to one. There's one in Nashville you had to sign a waiver, and it's like 8 floors, and they can push you out of windows, and they got these big nets that'll catch you. It's wild. Like people break bones. Like our friend punched one of the workers accidentally just from being scared too, like easily. So if you can find one, do it. But our number 1, which I feel like will be overlooked, is the all-time vibes Halloween night party. Wherever you're going, whether it's with family or you're going to a rager down with the fucking kids at Vandy, just sneaking into one of the frat houses. The Halloween parties are so much fun because it's the one night of the year you can be anybody you want. You can be a woman, you can be a man, you can be a ghost, a goblin.
He started with like
I was a woman last year.
a woman or
I
a
was
man
woman
before
last
all the
year, and it was
like
incredible.
you could be a,
You can just be whoever the
Jackson,
fuck
get
you want to
canceled.
be. So that number 1, that goated spot has got to go to that Halloween night party. And that is the back of the bus from all the boys.
Taylor, what's your word?
On par.
On par.
I'll take that from Taylor.
That's 2 words.
Decent. Just decent. I can explain myself.
No need.
No, you can't. It's one word.
Hey, Taylor, you mind kicking off this next one? I'm still kind of sitting on a couple.
No, go ahead.
Come on, dude. Fucking kick it off. You know what your words are. You know what your answers are.
Okay. I'm going to start off with my honorable mention. My honorable mention is going to be the pumpkin patch. I did like the pumpkin patch. I think it's a fun outing. It's a good time to go do those things. But the reason why I didn't make my tier list is because it's also work. Like when I go get pumpkins, your boy's not just getting one. I'm getting a baker's dozen, if not more. And it's just a lot of labor for your boy to go back and forth. And so that's why it just made the honorable mention. My tier 3 is going to be what kind of confused me a little bit about the boys in the back. It's going to be carving the pumpkin, because I think that is, all in all, what everybody does, at least at the very bare minimum of their Halloween. That's what they do. They go, they carve the pumpkin. you start off with this really complex idea of what you're going to make. Oh, I'm going to make a war scene of skeletons fighting demons, and then all of a sudden God's going to come out and smite the demons, and then you end up just making triangle eyes and fucked up teeth, and you call that one a day. But I think the whole thing, doing it with family or friends, is an outstanding time. I think it's amazing. My tier 2 is going to have to be going to a haunted house. The frights and spooks of the night. It's so much fun to me. And you put that jacket on that you haven't been able to put on all summer long because it's been too hot. You go out there, the weather's perfectly comfortable, is the best way to put it. Hopefully you go to a good one where they do serve the cider or something like that. Get yourself a little sip of something, a pumpkin spice, anything, and you cruise in there, get yourself a couple of shrieks. I think that's an outstanding part of any Spooktober tradition. And my tier 1, and this is where I said on par for the boys, because a lot of what I'm saying and what you guys are saying are similar. It just changes a little bit for me based on where I am in life. But taking your kids, especially when they can comprehend the idea of Spooktober, taking your kids trick-or-treating, seeing them truly believe in their mind they're a witch or they're a princess, and they're going to receive the greatest gift you can give a child, which is a sweet, sweet treat. Watching that happiness on their face is tier 1 to me. You literally can't beat it. It's outstanding. Wynn has been talking about being a witch for over a month and a half now. She is so excited. She's already got the outfit. She's so stoked. And that to me is tier 1 all the way.
Boys, you guys want to do your word? I got my word.
Wise.
Wise? Mine is ascension.
Identical.
Oh, now we're projecting. That's all right.
Fatherly.
Well, I literally said it's on par for what I was doing, but all I said was on par.
Hey, Taylor, I got your back on this one, brother. I don't even fucking waste any more words on this.
Yeah, dude. You know what? Balls by a million still, though.
Garrett, what's your word?
Safe.
Safe. All right, here's how I feel. Should I do mine first, or should we want to talk about Taylor's list? Me do mine. All right. So my man, I want to know how I want to. All right, so my tier 2, I'm reaching back for the nostalgia. I could, just because I haven't done it as much getting older. I absolutely.
Well, what's your tier 3?
What did I say? Oh, my tier 3. My fault. My tier 3 is reaching back for nostalgia, because I just haven't done it as much being older. Like I did a few times in college, but I really haven't like dressed up like that. But my tier 3 is like planning your costume as a young buck. Like when you were like planning out the Halloween party for school or trick-or-treating, like that moment of like putting your costume together and thinking it fucking rips, whether your mom made it herself or like you went and bought it at the store. Like when you like you explained it, what taking your kids trick-or-treating, like when you're fully believing you are the fucking Red Ranger or the Green Ranger with the fucking gold shoulder pads on, or the Ultimate Warrior or a dead baseball player. I'm just rattling off all my old costumes. Like those moments are fucking awesome and priceless. And I can't wait. I do want to give a shout out to your tier 1, Taylor. I cannot wait to experience that with Rue. Like when she gets old enough to figure out like that she wants a costume, she's going to fully believe it. That's why I think when their words back there, they kind of like, we'll talk about it. But that's my tier 3. My tier 3 is the anticipation and putting together, like, getting your fit, getting your costume ready, especially as a young buck. My tier 2 has got to be like when I think about the entire month of Spooktober, and if I can find my favorite elements of Spooktober, it's watching the scary movies, like watching horror films, whether with your significant other, by yourself, with the boys, but like whether a new spook's coming out, because Halloween Ends is coming out, and fuck us, we have to wait until the boy gets back on October 20th or 21st to see it. Shout out to boy. That's much respect to you because we love you. But everybody should check that out October 14th. But that new spook that comes out in Spooktober, and kind of just like rewatching horror films. It's a reason to watch horror films and get kind of back in the theme. Like that excitement of like sitting down and be like, turn the lights off. I can't wait to be scared as fuck. Like that's my tier 2, watching horror films. My tier 1 is you guys can call it piggybacking, whatever, but it's a specific feeling of going to a haunted house, and it's the anticipation of going to the first haunted house of the season. Like Taylor, if you were here, obviously we know how we'd be doing it, but Taylor and I turn up the Halloween theme music as we're driving to the fucking haunted house, and that excitement of going to the first haunted house of the season, because you start comparing them as you go to the other ones. We love haunted houses here at Bussin with the Boys, but you start comparing the second one to the first one, the third one to the first one. Then by Halloween comes, you're so worn out by all the Spooktober stuff. You still love it, but it's just not the same as that very first haunted house of the season. So that is my tier 1, is that first haunted house of the season. That is my tier talk.
Word.
Yeah, go ahead, JP. What's your word?
Range.
I'll take that.
Strong.
Anticipation.
Okay.
Festive.
I love that. Taylor?
Good.
I'll take those. So that's a good. You just see you bouncing. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. I'll fucking. Taylor just a little dying laughing right now. Hell yeah, man. I'll take that.
Just a good. Yeah, do you guys want to unpack what the fuck was going on with mine? What's going on?
So
Is
here's my same thing. I think they wanted to say piggyback. They felt like you probably took a shot at them with the what'd you say the word was for their list? On par. He said on par. Because it's not on par. Like, you say the haunted house, but then you say and I'm not talking regular haunted houses. You got to sign a fucking waiver. And I'm thinking like, okay, that's dope, and everyone gets excited about that. But that's not like. I said a moment. Exactly his moment of saying, his tier 2 of being a waiver signed haunted house.
Either whether it's like kind of like a kid's one.
No,
or
Jack. That's what he said.
You leaned into a specific haunted house.
For my personal experience, I want the waiver one. I don't want to go to the one that's got 3 guys in the back and then you walk out.
3, okay, here. I see what's happening right. But also what discredits, because that's obviously a pick that you had. I think all the boys would agree, like haunted houses in general. You've went to one fucking waiver signed haunted house. That's kind of hard to hang your hat on.
How many have you been to?
0. That's why I wouldn't shout out
I said I'm trying to cover the whole spectrum, whether it's a goofy.
You did a great job of saying a waiver signed haunted house.
I like to get as many words in as possible. And I did call Taylor's identical, but I also love his tier 1 because as a guy who is not married or does not have kids yet, that's something I feel like everyone kind of thinks is cool to look forward to once you.
For sure, his tier 1 hits, bro.
That makes you feel like it's like it's not about you anymore. It's about the smile on the kid's face. I think that's beautiful. So,
what was your word of Taylor's?
Identical.
Exactly. You just fucking.
Hey, Will, you can't, I get it. I don't know what frame of mind that Jack and Garrett have to be in to throw shots like that, but I hope whatever they're going through, they work it out.
It's a stressful week right now. There's a lot of things going on in the mind.
Are you chalking that up to Tennessee Vols playing Bama?
Absolutely.
But Taylor, you see what happened there. He said all of he explained everything else. He gave you a nice representation of your tier 1, and then reminded him of what his word was, which is identical. And I think he can feel I was off with just saying identical.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. Is like whatever Jack's going through, he can. I know he knows what he did, and I know he feels bad for what he did. So instead of making him feel worse, I'm just letting it go.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. And then what was your guys' tier 1?
The Halloween party.
Oh, Halloween party. See, that's just something I haven't done a whole lot.
One.
Yeah. I think that was awesome.
Outstanding one.
Yeah, no, look, again, I was a hardo in college, and then beyond college, it's kind of like one of those things. You're still in season to where I just never did it. I only dressed up after college because the strength coach on for when I was on practice squad made us wear an entire outfit coming in to do a workout in a full fucking costume. What's up? Yeah, you know Taylor's all about them Halloween parties. He kind of gets me excited because I know like each year he's like, man, I should throw a cool Halloween party. And I always thought like when I see everybody out, the young crowds out, like fucking the women, they get the excuse to dress up as whatever they want. It's like an exciting time to be a male single.
Male seeking female companionship.
yeah. Or vice versa. Like everybody, like those do seem like exciting times. I wish I would have experienced more of them.
Yeah, Halloween parties, especially in college, are just unmatched, dude.
They're like, it would have been so funny, like horny Halloween parties. Oh, but
Oh, fuck. Well, good work today, boys.
yeah, great work.
We're an hour 45.
Perfect. We fucking crushed it. I'm sure Taylor wants to kill himself being on FaceTime for an hour and 45 minutes.
On the phone, just
Probably a little bit.
I'm thinking that we need to get something shipped out to him so it's just a better just vibe all around. He doesn't have to hold the phone. We can get him something where he hears clear. I'm sure he's gonna sound way better with like one of those fucking microphones.
Hey, Will. I'm only out here for one more podcast. I'm good, bud.
It's all right. Everything fucking matters, brother. Like you said, we're not even scratching the surface. We don't want to go backwards right after signing our Barstool deal.
Yeah, but the minute you send me shit is the more shit I have to bring back with me.
It's a fucking microphone, bro.
All right, do what you want, Will.
Microphone, or maybe get you got AirPods with you?
Yeah, I can do that next time.
Yeah. Get the AirPods going. I don't know. We'll talk to our producer, JP, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, go ahead and get JP to send me some headphones.
All right, perfect. Well, I appreciate
Well,
it,
boys,
bro.
love
I'll
you to
get you some
death.
wired ones.
Yeah.
All right, we're good. Subscribe, fucking comment, drop the comments, do the things, boys. You guys know what it is. Embrace the spook. Hope you guys are watching all the spooks out there. Shout out Midnight Mass. Go check it out.
See you, boys.
See you, bro.